From the CBS 42 Storm Team, this is a severe weather alert.
Some new updates to bring you right now. A new severe thunderstorm warning for all of Jefferson and the southern end of Blount County. This warning going to be in place until 1:45. We're also keeping a very close eye on the storm that we already told you about earlier. Severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Pickens, Tuscaloosa, Fayette, and Walker. And this part of the storm here in Walker County, south of Oakman near the Bethel community, starting to see some spin with this along Highway 69 here. Not yet got a tornado warning on this, but I think we may stick with this for just a couple of minutes to make sure that this thing behaves itself. There is some spin near the town of Bethel there. Oh, got a little bit off kilter. Near the town of Bethel along Highway 69, right in there. So we'll be watching that pretty closely as we get the next couple of scans in to make sure that behaves. We don't have anything that would look like debris or anything like that right now. There's some inflow into this, but at this point, just a little bit of spin that we're seeing off the radar, but we hope that that's not an indication that as this stuff pushes further off to the south, that it starts to intensify. We've likely got some hail falling back towards Oakman, up Highway 69 just a bit, south of Jasper, south and west of Jasper and Bankhead, but it'll be moving towards the community, or towards the city of Jasper, towards the community of Bankhead. Further down to the south, this line of storms pushing into northern Tuscaloosa County, so places like Samantha, you're dealing with this, Wiley, further down 69, and this will be making its way towards Lake Tuscaloosa pretty soon, and then back to the west. There's that storm moving through Gordo and really looking nasty down there as well. All right, new tornado warning for Walker County. So we're going to stick with this, and this is going to be for that rotation I was pointing out earlier, right here. This is near the community of Bethel along Highway 69. Nobody needs to be driving right now on Highway 69. I'd say from Jasper all the way down to Tuscaloosa. Nobody needs to be driving on it at all, but this is going to be basically south of Jasper. So let's talk about who's in and who's out here. This does not include Jasper. It does not include Oakman, Cordova. It doesn't include Summiton. This is for the far southern end of Walker County. This warning going to be in place until 1 a.m., so 30 minutes on this. The area of rotation that's prompting this warning is right over the community of Bethel. So we'll zoom in a little bit on this. Pretty good circulation there, and this is crossing Highway 69. So there's your circulation. All this pushing off to the east. Oh yeah, look at the new signature there. Really tightened up in the last scan. So again, pretty good indication that we may have a developing tornado here. In fact, let me switch between a couple. Yeah, no, we've got tornado debris. So this is a confirmed tornado that has just crossed Highway 69. Tornado on the ground just east of Bethel. This is approaching Cedar Lake. So if you're watching us over there, you need to get in a safe place. This is a tornado on the ground doing damage right now in southern Walker County. And again, the system kind of fighting with me a little bit. Let's put it, I'll tell you what, let me zoom back out and give you a little bit better track here. So we'll zoom out on this. This is moving off to the east at 60. So yeah, confirmed tornado. The Weather Service just saw what we saw there. This is a tornado on the ground doing damage. So we'll put a track on this. There we go. So this is going to be, if this holds together, Jefferson County, this could be an issue. So places like Flat Top 1250, Graysville 1254. If this held together, this could be impacting some of the western neighborhoods in Birmingham by 1 o'clock. The hope is this is a short-term situation, but at this point, we want folks in western Jefferson County to be on guard. Start thinking about what you need to get done before you have to get to your safe place. For places like Cedar Lake, Good Springs, the time is now. You've got to go. For most people, this is going to be either, if you've got it, a basement or a storm shelter. If you've got a storm shelter in your neighborhood, you can go to that. If you don't, lowest floor of your home, away from doors and windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you possibly can, but you can't be in a mobile home, an RV, a camper, anything like that. It's got to be a site-built structure. You've got to get into a site-built safe place. Again, this is a confirmed tornado that we've got on radar. Let's take a look and see if we've still got that debris signature. We do. I'm going to take a closer look at this. Hopefully, this is something that we don't deal with for too long, but certainly right now, a good indication of a tornado on the ground. This is Highway 69. This is Bethel. And then if we zoom out a little bit, this is Oakman. Browntown sits here. Cedar Lake sits here. Your possible tornado is south and west of the community of Cedar Lake. And again, it's heading in that direction. Gorgas and Reed's Ferry, Drifton, you are in the path of this. High Level, you are in the path of this. This is State Highway 268 right here, and it'll be crossing State Highway 268, probably pretty close to the Gorgas community. Let's check the debris signature again. Still there. Again, and it's right there with that rotation. So we'll put a circle on this just to kind of show you. This is what we look for. So we've got the debris showing up there. That's the yellow. And we'll pop on the rotation. It's in the exact same spot. The really dark green there next to the really bright green, that's the spin. So it's in the exact same spot. And then we'll go and just make sure that the rain part of the radar, the reflectivity isn't clear there. It's not. We've got reds and purples there. So this is tornado debris. We've gone through all the checklists there. It's 100% what we've got here. Tornado on the ground approaching the town of Cedar Lake. So if you're watching us there, we need to get you in a safe place. This is a confirmed tornado. Again, and this is a pretty classic looking part of a line producing a tornado. It is moving rapidly. It's probably drifting a little north of due east. The initial warning had it going more due east. I think it's moving a little more northeast based on the latest turns we're getting. So this is over Cedar Lake right now. That's the path. So flat top, this would be making its way towards you probably in about 10 to 15 minutes. If this held together and took a little bit more of a north turn, it would be a Summerton issue. I tend to think it would be closer to flat top and then over towards Morris. If it made it to Morris, it would be after 1 o'clock. And again, I want to point out, Jefferson County, you're not under a tornado warning, but if this holds together, you could be, and it could impact parts of the western and northwestern part of the Birmingham metro. We've still got that good looking hook echo. You can see the hook right there. So we've got inflow into the storm. Inflow into the storm there, rotating updraft, and the rain wrapping back around it. That's what causes that hook echo, and that is a good indication that we've got a tornado ongoing there. Now, again, the question is going to be long term whether or not this ends up occluding quickly and basically wrapping itself up and getting done, or if it's still on the ground. Still a good indication that we may have a tornado there near Cedar Lake. So we'll keep watching that. You can see our Summerton camera there. Lots of flashes of lightning. The worst of the weather still south and west of Summerton. But again, if you're in Summerton, we want you to pay close attention to this storm. Michael, are you seeing any new details coming in right now?
Well, unfortunately, Alex, no damage reports coming in as of this moment. But again, this is 12:30 in the morning. It will take a while to get those damage reports to come in compared to an afternoon type event. So we want you in your safe place in Walker County. The latest update from the National Weather Service, this tornado warning in effect for Walker County until 1 o'clock this morning. As of 12:30, about 12:31, right at 5 minutes ago, a likely tornado located near Gorgas, 10 miles southwest of Cordova, moving east at 60 miles per hour. So these storms are moving very quickly. 60 miles per hour, that's about the speed that you would go on the interstate, just to give you some perspective on how quickly these storms are moving. So you don't have a lot of time to get in your safe place. So this is a tornado warning for Walker County until 1 o'clock. Looking live from Summerton, Highway 78 down below. That's Highway 78. You see a tremendous amount of lightning. Summerton, you are not included in this likely tornado. This is just south of you. But that said, we do not want anybody traveling south along I-22, Corridor X, down toward Adamsville or Birmingham. So looking at this tornado warning now, the National Weather Service is confirming that based on what they see on radar. This tornado warning for Walker County until 1 o'clock this morning. You see that hook right there. And if this holds together, this will ultimately impact the western part of Jefferson County. So even though Jefferson County not included in this tornado warning, if it does hold itself together, the western part of the metro metro Birmingham area will be impacted by this. As Alex mentioned, you see that hook right there, traveling right there along just southeast of Oakman, east of Highway 69. So the dangerous part of this storm, the most dangerous part of it, capable of producing a tornado east of Highway 69 now and south of I-22, south of Corridor X. Now, we're not forgetting about you over East Alabama. I know it's not the best of weather in Calhoun County, Anniston, back up toward Gadsden. Now, Coleman County, you are also under a severe thunderstorm warning in Coleman County due to the likelihood for damaging straight line wind, perhaps some hail, and this heavy rain extending all the way down to the southwest. Tuscaloosa County, Tuscaloosa, Northport, you are also under a severe thunderstorm warning. But the reason we're with you right now, the most urgent the matter that we're dealing with, this likely tornado, a radar-confirmed tornado by the National Weather Service passing through Walker County, approaching the western edge of Jefferson County if it holds together, Alex.
Well, some new news, and this is good news. The latest from the Weather Service in Birmingham, the tornado has lifted and they are canceling this tornado warning, and we don't have that debris signature anymore, so that is good news. The concern here long term is going to be how this line of storms behaves, and just a few minutes ago when we cut in, I told you that these storms were pushing into a more unstable environment. So at this point, we'll have to watch these closely. This could turn into a situation as they continue to dive south to sort of pin the tail of the tornado, different little areas of spin popping up within this line and us chasing after them all night. We've been through these situations before. So the good news is no tornado warnings currently in effect. We do still have some severe thunderstorm warnings, though. Jefferson and southern Blount County. This includes Aniana, Warrior, Gardendale, Fultondale, Birmingham, actually all of Jefferson County. This includes, again, Coleman County, southern end of Coleman County. It doesn't include the city of Coleman, but Hanceville, Colony, Brushy Pond. It includes the Coleman County part of Smith Lake. Really nasty thunderstorm moving through there, and this will be pushing into Blount County. It would not shock me that despite the fact that the worst of this initial storm that prompted this tornado warning for Jefferson County has been pushing out of the county, they may leave this in place because of this storm pushing on in. So Jefferson County, this warning is in effect until 1:45. I think they'll leave it in place just because we've got a really nasty thunderstorm headed your way that's capable of damaging straight line winds. If you're watching us back into Tuscaloosa County, Buell, Elrod, Coker, this line headed your way. This is still north and west of Tuscaloosa. We do have that Tuscaloosa camera, though. I'm going to take a look at that real quick and, oh, did I not click it? There we go. We've got this pointed back off to the north and west here, so we'll take a look and see if we see any lightning. There's a little less lightning so far in the Tuscaloosa County portion of this storm. Just to get your bearings straight here, you're looking back towards the Black Warrior River here. Back over here would be the campus of the University of Alabama, Bryant-Denny Stadium, just off screen to the left. So we're looking back to the north and west from DCH Regional Medical Center, not really seeing much in the way of lightning. That's a good thing. That hopefully means that these storms are struggling as they move through Tuscaloosa County. Again, no guarantee that that's going to remain the case. Still pretty impressive looking radar presentation, but you can see less lightning here, more lightning popping up in this segment of storms. It's not necessarily severe warn, but is intense in western Pickens County. So that's going to be back towards Pickensville, towards the dam, back towards Aliceville, Cochran, Clark, down Highway 17, and another intense storm back into Noxubee County, Mississippi that will be pushing into Pickens County pretty soon. Still some heavier rain extending from Talladega back up through Anniston, Jacksonville. The bigger concern with that would be some flooding that could develop. This is an area that's just seen a lot of rain so far today. And again, flooding will be a concern pretty much all across central Alabama with round after round of heavy rain. I do think this is probably the last batch of really intense thunderstorms and heavy rain, but there is some rain back behind this back into Mississippi that we'll be keeping an eye on as we head through the rest of the night. But at this point, we don't have any tornado warnings. Still a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Tuscaloosa County, Pickens County, parts of Fayette, although at this point it's mostly just a Walker County issue. It really is a Walker County issue. And then Jefferson and Blount also have a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, as this line of storms moves through, that will sort of just remain in effect. The more intense part of this line, though, continues to move through parts of Walker and Coleman counties. So this is where, again, I think the biggest threat for severe weather really short term is going to be. We'll take one last look here at the velocity product, just make sure we're not missing anything here. Some signs there of some damaging winds pushing into parts of Blount and Jefferson. North Jefferson, southern Blount, but nothing that shows up necessarily as tornadic, so that's good news. Don't see anything that necessarily shows up as tornadic. We do now know, and Michael, if you can talk about this real quick, we got a flash flood warning now for Jefferson and Shelby County. So let's talk about how that's going to sort of set up here.
That's right, Alex. A flash flood warning now for Jefferson and Shelby County until 3:45 this morning. We've already had a tremendous amount of rain tonight, and the same areas that have received the rain before still getting this rain. All that energy has to go somewhere, and that's exactly what's happening. So we have a flash flood warning for Jefferson and Shelby counties until 3:45 this morning. So if you do live in flood-prone areas, please keep a very close eye on water conditions. And you know the saying, it may be cliche, but it's true, to remember, turn around, don't drown. Do not drive through any type of standing water because it does not take much for your automobile to stall, and certainly if it's water that's moving, could wash your vehicle completely away. That's the reason these flash flood warnings are issued. So that flash flood warning for Jefferson and Shelby counties until 3:45. Now, a little bit of good news, or a lot of good news, in fact, that tornado warning for Walker County has been canceled. So we're kind of transitioning into what we would consider to be a brief spin-up tornado possibility, and also a flash flooding potential, a high likelihood for some flash flooding over the coming hours. Just for an example, that tornado warning was for Walker County. That was issued, let's see here, that was issued at 12:29. That tornado warning was issued at 12:29 for Walker County, and then it was canceled at 12:38. So for only 9 minutes, Walker County under a tornado warning. So this can happen very quickly. That's why we want you to stay abreast and stay up to date on what's happening tonight. Make sure your NOAA weather radio is all set up and ready to go with a battery backup. Also make sure, of course, you have our CBS 42 app downloaded, ready to go. That way you'll get these warnings if they are issued. So we continue to have this flash flood warning now for Jefferson and Shelby counties. We're also continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Pickens, Tuscaloosa, and Walker counties until 1 o'clock due to the possibility for damaging straight-line wind in excess of 60 miles per hour. Also, the severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled now for Fayette. So the National Weather Service continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Pickens, Tuscaloosa, and Walker counties. And, of course, this severe thunderstorm warning that will continue for Jefferson County. Again, we're dealing with damaging straight-line wind, and at any point, these storms across central Alabama could produce a brief spin-up tornado. So please keep that in mind and stick with the CBS 42. Just have your TV on all night long, and we'll keep you posted right here with all these warnings as they do pop up, Alex.
Michael, thank you so much. Do want to touch on the flash flood warning that's just been issued. This is for Jefferson and Shelby, and this is basically being issued out ahead of what's going to be expected flash flooding. It's not ongoing right now. In fact, for much of the warned area here, this extends from basically Alabaster back down to, hold on here, have I got my clicker working? I'm trying to get this situated here. Okay, well, we'll do it this way then. Let me zoom out here real quick. Basically extending from Alabaster and Calera back up 65 and 31, back up to Birmingham. And again, the reason we're getting this warning is just because these are spots that, quite frankly, can't handle a lot of water really fast. This is some of the most urbanized part of Alabama. And there's just a lot of concrete, a lot of asphalt, and there's not very many places for the water to go, so it goes into the same spots. And if you live in this area, you know that there's a lot of spots here that flood pretty quickly. With this next round of storms that's going to move through, we're probably going to be dealing with some flash flooding. So that's something that we're going to have to be very careful with as we head through the next few hours. Again, that warning in place until 3:45 this evening. Let's see if I got this fixed. Nope. Not sure what's going on with my hand tracking here, but we'll just we'll roll with it as best we can. So Severe thunderstorm warning still in effect. Flash flood warning still in effect right now. Michael, let's send it over to you, see if I can get this hand tracker working again.
I know that's some difficult stuff going on over there, and you're doing a fantastic job of it. But that flash flood warning that we're dealing with, as Alex was talking about, the bulk of this should be out of here by rush hour tomorrow. The problem is if you're traveling this evening, of course it's dark, you can't see anything, and you could run into this water very quickly. So that's why we don't want you on the roads. And even if you're not driving through a flooded area, we still have ponding on the roadways that could cause you to hydroplane. And see too many times in so many areas where folks drive the same way on a very wet day as they would on a dry day. So please just slow down, allow some extra time this evening if you have to get out wherever you're going. So let's talk about now what we did have earlier, a tornado warning in Walker County. That has now been canceled. But still the possibility over the next several hours, that's the reason we have a tornado watch until 6 o'clock, any thunderstorm that does roll through from northwest to southeast. And by the way, this line right here coming out of Mississippi into Alabama, approaching the I-59 corridor, once we get that line through, the tornado threat will dwindle down. So it's likely a situation that many counties, especially along and north of Interstate 20, will get canceled out of that tornado watch before 6 o'clock this morning. And remember, the watch simply means conditions are favorable for a tornado to develop within any thunderstorm that moves through. A warning means that we are dealing with a likely tornado. Fortunately, we do not have any tornado warnings in effect right now, but that could change at any point. So the moment of concern, we're still dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning in Pickens County, Tuscaloosa County, Jefferson County, Blount, and Coleman counties. A severe thunderstorm warning, the main threat being damaging straight line wind. Alex?
Thank you, Michael. I think we got things situated here. So I want to take a look again at our Tuscaloosa camera. This is on top of DCH Regional Medical Center. And we'll take a look at this. This is looking off to the north and west towards that line of storms. This part of the line has not had as much lightning with it, so that's actually good news. So we're looking back to the north and west over the sky of Tuscaloosa. So off to your left here would be Bryant-Denny Stadium, just off camera. We're looking back north and west. We just don't see a lot. That's good. If we had a lot of lightning here, that would indicate probably an intensifying storm. We don't have that at this point. But further to the north, it's sort of a different story. We've got a lot of heavy rain and frequent lightning. I'm going to go to that Summerton camera. I know we were looking at that a little bit earlier, and it was really impressive. Oh, did we lose it? Yeah. Okay, so that might be an indication that the weather got really rough there in Summerton as this moved through. So we totally lost our camera feed there in Summerton. That's up there on Highway 78, and so we don't have that shot anymore. But you could see really intense wind and rain with this, lots of lightning with this, now pushing into Jefferson County. So Adamsville, Gardendale, Fultondale, Warrior, Morris, Mulga, Kimberly. This is heading your way, and it's going to be pretty nasty back up into Blount County. So places like Hayden, Nectar, Locust Fork, Aniana. This is going to be heading your direction too. Looking really nasty right now over towards Hanceville and Garden City along Highway 31 in Coleman County. The concern here is really heavy rain and damaging winds. I don't think we've got much in the way of hail with this. It's more of a damaging wind threat with this line of storms than a hail threat. I also want to point out, again, we're still keeping an eye on this storm pushing into Pickens County. This is moving towards the far southern end of the county, so places like Clark and Cochran. No warning with this, but that looks like a very intense round of storms. And also want to point out something down to our south. This is not technically our television viewing area, but new tornado warning. This is a storm that's been moving through Choctaw County. This is now moving into Marengo County, so that's something we'll watch long term. If this were to hold together, it would be a really long time, but Chilton, Coosa, and Tallapoosa, if it were to hold together that long, that would be a concern. Again, hopefully it's not going to be that long-lived a storm, but this has been a storm that we've been watching since it's been back in Mississippi, and it's had plenty of rotation with it. The good news at this point, we don't have any indications of a tornado. We do have really heavy rain, the potential for some damaging winds moving through Tuscaloosa and northwestern parts of the Birmingham metro right now. And again, we do have that flash flood warning. And this is going to be in place for Birmingham, Hoover, Homewood, parts of Bessemer. This is going to be in effect for Pelham, Helena, Alabaster, North Calera, and extending back off to the east towards Indian Springs. And this will be in effect, I think we said 345. And the reason this has been issued, essentially, we don't have a lot of heavy rain currently falling. We've had some pretty heavy rain in these spots earlier today, and we've got this on the way. And the concern here is this last big batch of rain will be enough to cause some flash flooding. Now, the good news is this last batch does have some decent motion from northwest to southeast, and you can see that here. It's not quite as slow as some of the storms we've dealt with earlier today, but the ground is soaked and saturated, and everybody who lives in southern Jefferson through central Shelby County knows it floods pretty easy. So that's why that flash flood warning is in place. We will be watching for reports on that as we go through the rest of tonight. Still multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in place, and again, this is starting to approach Tuscaloosa and northwest Birmingham. The wind's about to pick up. We could see some sporadic power outages, some issues with tree limbs being knocked down, and we want you to be prepared for that. Michael.
We also note the tremendous amount of lightning associated with this, so that's going to wake many folks up. So if you are just waking up and tuning in early on this morning, this being on this Wednesday morning, that is, we are dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning in Jefferson County, also a flash flood warning until 3:45 for Jefferson County. So we're dealing with a kind of a multifaceted situation here. Not any active tornado warnings in effect right now, but that could change. This will transition down to the possibility for a few brief spin-up tornadoes. What we mean by that is it could happen at any point within these severe thunderstorm warnings. They could often happen not even without a warning being issued. So just keep that in mind. Treat these warnings tonight as if they could have the possibility for a lower-end tornado. We never want to call a tornado weak, but we're talking about these lower-end tornadoes that could develop here in central Alabama with these thunderstorms continuing to move from northwest to the southeast. So Summerton right now getting very heavy rainfall. You saw the camera there completely locked up. We lost that camera in Summerton right there along Highway 78. Now edging into the western part of Jefferson County, west of Birmingham. Here's I-59, I-65 right in through here, going down to Hoover, Homewood. The heaviest rain coming back in from the northwest, so you will be getting wet very soon in the city of Birmingham within the next 15 to 20 minutes. In fact, there's another cell out ahead of this moving into downtown Birmingham as we speak. So as we kind of take you out a little bit farther to the east, Trussville, the northeast part of Jefferson County, getting heavy rain now along I-59 into St. Clair County, Springville, Asheville, up to Warrior, the northern part of Jefferson County. Hoover, you're dry at the moment, but trust me, that rain heading in your direction as we speak. Looking live right now, the BJCC over downtown Birmingham. You're going to see some lightning likely popping there in the distance. Obviously, we're extremely cloudy, and that rain will continue to filter in, causing the likelihood for flash flooding. So you know the typical flood-prone areas. And if you happen to be out driving tonight, first off, we urge you to stay home. But if you have to get out, just allow extra time. Take it easy. We have ponding on the roadways. And as always, do not drive into any type of standing water. Just turn around, find a different route around that. It's simply not worth the risk. So going back now into Mississippi, things will continue to improve from northwest to southeast over the coming hours. We do feel like many of these counties along and north of Interstate 20 will get canceled from the tornado watch. That tornado watch running until 6 o'clock technically. But the areas along and south of Interstate 20 will remain under the conditions remaining favorable south of this line of very heavy rain and strong to severe thunderstorms. So this severe thunderstorm warning now edging out of Pickens County, but Tuscaloosa conditions will continue to deteriorate. Tuscaloosa, Northport, and then eventually back up into the north and northwest part of Tuscaloosa County. Birmingham conditions deteriorating over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Coleman, you remain under this severe thunderstorm warning. Blount County under a severe thunderstorm warning. If that maintains its intensity, will eventually impact Etowah County and St. Clair counties. So the tornado threat's still there, but it's not as prominent compared to what we had a couple of hours ago. But we still want you to remain on your toes throughout this evening, and we'll keep you posted right here on CBS 42. Alex.
We've got a new tornado warning. This is going to be for Blount County for this storm right here. So if you're watching us in Nectar, Cleveland, Locust Fork, Aniana, all good. Want you to get in a safe place right now. This is going to extend all the way back out to the Etowah County line. So new tornado warning, area of concern right in here. We'll pop on the Velocity product real quick. And there's your circulation right here. So concerning situation there is, again, this is sort of wrapping back up. This is Highway 79, runs from Cleveland, Fowler Spring, back down towards Cedar Springs, and then back down out of the county and into Jefferson County, back towards Birmingham. Don't want anybody driving on that. Nobody should be driving on Highway 231 right now, between I-65, back past Aniana, and really all the way back down into Gadsden. Again, circulation is here. We'll put a track on this. This is moving east at 45 miles an hour. And again, these have been moving a little bit north of due east, but we'll get it pretty close to due east here. This will be moving into Cleveland, 106. I mean, really, it's close to there. It'll be close to there very soon. Nectar, Locust Fork, it's on top of you now. Aniana, about 112. If it holds together, this would be pushing into western Etowah County, places like Bethlehem and Altoona, probably by about 115 to 120, maybe 125. So these have not necessarily been long-lived rotations, but something to keep in mind if you're watching us in western Etowah County. You may want to go ahead and start making those plans now to get to a safe place if you know it's going to take you a few more minutes. If you're watching us in places like Cleveland, Nectar, Locust Fork, Aniana, time to move is now. Again, the area of concern is really between Nectar and Locust Fork and Adville, near the community of Sugar Creek, pushing off to the north and east. Really heavy rain with this. This will be totally obscured by rain. No way to see this. Even with all the flashes of lightning, you're not going to get a good look at this thing. So we want you to get into that safe place right now. Don't wait till you see this, because there's just not going to be any way that you're going to be able to. Again, this warning's still in place until 1:30, so we've got about 30 more minutes on this. My guess would be this will be out of Blount County before 1:30, but we'll see how this moves. Again, moving east-northeast at about 45 miles an hour. We just got the new radar scan in there. We'll check and see if we've got any sort of debris signature. Well, let's see. This one may be a situation where we can't quite be definitive. Yeah, it's kind of a tough call there. There might be something near Nectar, but I would tend to say I don't feel confident enough to call that debris. Still, I want you to treat this thing seriously. Possible tornado between Nectar and Locust Fork moving off to the north and east. So Cleveland, Rosa, Aniana, all good. Need you to get in your safe place. If you've got a storm shelter, if you've got a basement, that's where I want you to be. If you're in a mobile home, an RV, a camper, you need to evacuate that, okay, and get to a site-built building. In a site-built building, if you don't have access to any kind of shelter or basement, lowest floor of your home, away from doors and windows, you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as you possibly can. For the people who have lived here a long time, you have heard this over and over and over again, but if you're here visiting, if this is the first time you've been here, we want you to be aware of what's going on. You can see the live view from Gadsden there. It's some heavy rain falling in Gadsden, but at the moment, the tornado threat still west of there, but we'll continue to watch that camera as these storms approach. Again, don't want to discount the flooding threat that we'll deal with all these storms too. Absolutely something we could be dealing with overnight tonight. You saw that flash of lightning there. So still got this tornado warning in place for Blount County. Michael, what are you seeing right now?
No damage reports coming in. Obviously, that's good news, but we want you to be on high alert. This tornado warning for Blount County. That does include the city of Aniana. Highway 231 right here. There's Highway 75 coming out of Jefferson County. Highway 75 takes you out of Jefferson County to Aniana. So the I-75 corridor, Highway 75 corridor from Aniana, all good. Back to the west along to Locust Fork, Nectar, and Cleveland, right there along 231. This is not impacting Etowah Etowah County as of right now. But still, if you're listening to us along Highway 59 or Highway 431, Highway 77 in Etowah County, from Rainbow City back over to Gadsden and Attala, if this does hold together, you will be under a tornado threat if the National Weather Service does warrant to issue this into Etowah County. But right now, the main issue, Aniana, Allgood, Blount County, Highland Lake, smallest room, lowest floor, away from all windows of your home. That's the safest place to be. So as we kind of take this out a little bit for you, notice the track of this, generally from west to east. So from Locust Fork to Cleveland and back to the east, Aniana, you are under the gun right now. Looking at the velocity on this, the green and the red, that represents the couplet, and that couplet right now located very close to Locust Fork, Highway 79. So this will be crossing over Highway 79 if we do in fact have a tornado between Locust Fork, Allgood, and Aniana over the next 15 to 20 minutes. So taking you out a little bit farther here, this tornado warning in effect, this does not include Jefferson County. Jefferson County currently under a severe thunderstorm warning, but the area of concern, that the reason that we're with you due to this tornado warning for Blount County. So this is our future scan over the next hour. We'll begin right now. Notice how this will begin at right at 1:03. If it holds together, it will be in the city of Gadsden a little before 2 o'clock this morning. So the city of Gadsden, you need to be on high alert. That same system will eventually cross into the western part of Calhoun County, out of St. Clair County, Ragland, the western part of Calhoun County from east St. Clair County, Ragland, Ohatchee, and then eventually Highway 431 running from near Alexandria back up to Gadsden. So that entire area, you will be under the gun for the potential for any of these thunderstorms that develop to produce a brief spin-up tornado. Taking you back to the west now, the heavy rain falling along I-22, Adamsville, the western part of Jefferson County, where we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Jefferson County due to the likelihood for damaging straight-line wind. We also have a flash flood warning in effect for Jefferson County. Birmingham all the way down I-65, down to Homewood, Hoover, Shelby County. We likely have flash flooding occurring. So this is a very messy morning, and we do expect to get the brunt of this out of here in time for rush hour tomorrow. But in the meantime, it's going to be a bumpy ride throughout the rest of the night, and that also includes going back into Tuscaloosa County. Looking live from Birmingham, the BJCC, heavy rain falling as we speak. The main threat being in the city of Birmingham, a damaging straight-line wind, heavy rain with the potential for flash flooding. Going all the way back down toward Midfield. So the heaviest rain in Jefferson County now from around Trussville, downtown Birmingham, Midfield, Hueytown, and Oak Grove. This passing from northwest to southeast. So conditions will deteriorate throughout Jefferson County, Shelby County within the next 15 to 20 minutes. Tuscaloosa, it looks like that severe thunderstorm warning has been either canceled or allowed to expire for Tuscaloosa County. Looking at the latest coming back in from the National Weather Service, the severe thunderstorm warning is continuing for Jefferson County, Blount County until 1:45. And of course, we have that tornado warning in effect for Blount County, and that's the most pressing issue that we're dealing with right now, Alex. But as of right now, at this point, I'm not seeing any type of damage reports coming in from Blount County.
That is good news, but again, still have that circulation at this point moving through Blount County. And the reflectivity here, what we use to show you the rain, is clear as mud as to where this is. We might have a little bit of a comma head feature right in here, but it's really hard to make out. We're going to be sort of relying on the velocity product here. And again, there is some circulation here approaching the city of Aniana. So if you're watching us in Aniana, we want you in a safe place. Allgood, easily back up to Greystone, basically all along Highway 75 here. You need to be in a safe place. So Rosa, this is now east of Nectar, east of Mount Olive, east of Locust Fork, and now moving towards the city of Aniana. So if you're back towards Nectar, Mount Olive, we can give you the all clear at this point. But places like Allgood, Aniana, Murphy, this is still an ongoing situation, and you need to get in that tornado safe place. We're keeping an eye on the storm in Jefferson County as well. It does not have a tornado warning, but the potential for damaging wind moving right through Birmingham now. And again, want to point out the flash flood warning that's in effect, extending from around Birmingham back down to around Alabaster and the north end of Calera, basically along that Interstate 65 and Highway 31 corridor. Flooding is this is a particularly flood-prone area, and again, we expect flash flooding to start occurring as this last batch of really heavy rain and thunderstorms moves through. Behind that, the rain is probably going to be light enough that any flooding that occurs would slowly but eventually recede. But again, we do expect some flooding to start occurring in parts of Jefferson and Shelby County, again, particularly from Birmingham, Homewood, Hoover, Vestavia Hills, Helena, Pelham, Alabaster, and maybe the north end of Calera as well, though it probably stays north of the main part of Calera there and stays more of an Alabaster issue. The reason we're here, tornado warning still in effect for Blount County. Let me pop up my chat here real quick because I minimized it and see what we've got going on here. No reports of damage, and that is good news. We're hopefully going to get through this with no damage in Blount County, but time being, we've still got enough of a circulation here to support that tornado warning. Some discussion right now as to what they do beyond the warning. But again, an intense thunderstorm. Want folks to take this thing very, very seriously as we head through the rest of this evening. And again, we're going to stay with you as these storms continue to move off to the east. Just a really nasty night across central Alabama. Michael.
Alex, we have a report of a 39-knot wind gust in Birmingham. That's about 45 miles per hour. That's below the minimum criteria for a severe thunderstorm, but still, that just shows you within that one spot we do have wind gusting well over 40 miles per hour. And of course, the main issue now, the tornado warning for Blount County until 1:30. That is 22 minutes from now. The tornado warning for Blount County, the latest information from the National Weather Service just a little while ago. They're still calling it a storm capable of producing a tornado. That means this is not a verified, confirmed tornado, but it could produce one at any time. Now, this is a messy scene on radar, meaning this is not one of those large, long-track tornadoes, as we've talked about over the past several minutes, the past hour or so, where these storms are capable of producing what we call some of these smaller spin-up tornadoes. And Aniana, you're dealing with that possibility right now. So Highway 231, Highway 75, that intersection taking through downtown Aniana, Blount County, now southeast of Cleveland, this possible tornado. You see that rotation, and it looks like it's trying to tighten up just a bit in one respect, very close to Locust Fork. So Locust Fork back over toward Allgood and Aniana, you still need to be in your safe place as this possible tornado will continue to move on through. And this is not impacting Etowah County, but you are getting some rough weather. Gadsden, Southside, Glencoe, Hoax Bluff in Etowah County, extending south along Highway 431 to that southern part of Etowah County, then Highway 77. And also Jefferson County. We are dealing with some damaging straight line wind. The severe thunderstorm warning continuing for Jefferson County. So this is the future scan over the next hour. That storm prompting the severe thunderstorm warning, that very same storm within the next hour would be over the eastern part of Etowah County, along Highway 411, east of U.S. Highway 431. I'm not suggesting that the tornado warning will carry over to that point, but it's possible. So that's why we still want you to be in your safe place. So within the next hour, the eastern, central, and eastern part of Etowah County getting the brunt of that very same storm, moving through Blount County. And the rain continuing to fall farther to the south and the southwest. That's the reason we have a flash flood warning for the city of Birmingham, farther to the south along I-65, Jefferson County, and Shelby County. Now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning just being issued for Shelby and St. Clair counties until 2 o'clock this morning. So this just now coming in, a new severe thunderstorm warning for Shelby and St. Clair counties until 2 o'clock in the morning. The main threat being damaging straight line wind and some large hail likely within that. So a Hueytown along Interstate to 59 and 20, very heavy rain extending from Hueytown up to Gardendale, just south of Warrior, Trussville, the northeast part of Jefferson County, down toward Leeds. Heavy rain falling between Leeds and downtown Birmingham along Interstate 20. Likely ponding on the roads. I can guarantee we have ponding on the roads and flash flooding occurring in many of these locations. So please do not get out unless you absolutely have to. And we do expect the bulk of the rain, the heaviest rain, to be out of here early tomorrow morning. And then just look at Birmingham right now. It's hard to see anything at all from the BJCC. And this is what we're talking about. Very dangerous conditions to be out. Not only are we dealing with severe thunderstorm conditions damaging straight line wind, but just sheets of rain falling throughout Birmingham and a very frequent lightning taking place as well. So please, this is a dangerous situation if you have to be out on the roadways. The tornado threat is still there, but will diminish over the next several hours. And then certainly, Alex, this is a significant flash flooding threat all across central Alabama right now.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this all night, and it looks like it's setting up, and it's setting up in some spots that really can't handle it, from Birmingham back down to Alabaster. So that flash flood warning remains in effect. The tornado warning for Blount County, as you said, has been canceled. We do have the new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for all of St. Clair County and parts of northeastern Shelby County. So everybody in St. Clair County in the warning. For Shelby County, this will include places like Vincent, Sterrett, Donovan, Inverness, Lee Branch will be included in this warning, and again, it's going to be for this line of storms here. We'll see if that ends up getting extended further down into Shelby County as this part of the storm in Jefferson continues to push off to the east, but it does look like the more intense part of this storm may be further off to the north and east, while the stuff further to the south and west still intense, but not quite as severe. Still some rough storms ongoing through parts of Tuscaloosa, Pickens counties, not severe, but heavy rain falling. Some minor flooding could occur there. This is still setting up, though, to be potentially a significant flash flood event from Birmingham south towards Helena, Pelham, and Alabaster. And was looking at some of the creek levels here on the Cahaba Valley Creek. Those are starting to rise, and that's a particularly susceptible creek there in Shelby County that runs along 119 and then back down 31. So we'll keep an eye on that. That would be something that could be impactful if that creek continues to rise. And again, this rain will come in. It will rise some more. Not currently at flood stage, but could be when this is all said and done. I do think behind this, once we get past this leading edge of really heavy rain, we've still got some light rain behind it, but it would be light enough that we probably wouldn't have any additional issues popping up, although it could keep things lingering around a little bit longer than we might like. Once the heaviest of the rain pushes onto the southeast, and we can really hear the rain pounding down at the roof here on Red Mountain right now. We'll turn the lightning on here. Haven't turned that on in a minute. Like to see it without the lightning to get a better view of the radar. This might be trending down maybe just a little bit, but still a lot of it out there embedded in all this heavy rain in Jefferson County. So we're going to continue to monitor this. The good news is no tornado warning in effect for central Alabama. We do have a tornado warning in effect for Marengo County. So this is going to be in South Alabama. It's going to be for this storm here. This does not include Linden, but does include Sweetwater, Miller, Thomaston, Magnolia, Calvary, Dixon Mills. That warning is in effect until 1:45. And next county in line after that would be Dallas and Perry counties. Again, this is all in the Montgomery television market, and I believe Marengo may actually be the Meridian market. It's either Meridian or Montgomery. Either way, not our TV market, but something that we'll continue to watch. Theoretically, if that storm maintained itself long enough, it could end up being an issue for parts of Chilton, Coosa, or Tallapoosa counties, depending on exactly how it tracked out. So that's where things stand right now. We've got that damaging wind threat. We've got that flash flooding threat. Michael, I haven't seen any reports no significant reports of flooding yet, but I have a feeling that may change as some of this heavy rain pushes through.
Yeah, I would imagine so, Alex. As we look at downtown Birmingham, it is just pouring cats and dogs as we speak. We can hear it on the rooftop and see it outside on our cameras, just raining in sheets. The good news for right now, though, the tornado warning for Blount County has been canceled. If you're just joining us, the tornado warning for Blount County canceled, but still rough conditions across central and eastern Alabama. So Aniana getting some very heavy rain, the part of that thunderstorm that did prompt the warning moving over your area. And still, we can't completely rule out a few additional isolated, brief spin-up tornadoes with any of these cells that move on through here. This is a very messy situation, so this is really transitioning to heavy rain with some severe thunderstorms. But for Gadsden and Etowah County, heavy rain falling in Gadsden now, back down toward Asheville and Springville. This is the future scan, so we'll highlight the I-59 corridor from Tuscaloosa back up to Birmingham, and then all the way into the northeast part of Jefferson County and into St. Clair County, Springville, and Gadsden, then back down toward Asheville. These storms will continue to press from northwest to southeast over the next hour. So this future scan taking you out over the next hour, but around 2:17 or 2:20, the heaviest rain along and southeast of Interstate 59 and 20. Any of these thunderstorms will be capable of producing damaging straight line wind, some large hail. That's the reason we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Jefferson County, extending all the way up to the north toward St. Clair County. That does include St. Clair County, and it looks like the Shelby County under the flash flood warning, and that flash flood warning extends all the way into downtown Birmingham. So conditions continuing to deteriorate along and southeast of Interstate 59 and 20. That tornado watch continuing to run, especially along and west of Interstate 65 until 6 o'clock this morning. But as we look a little bit farther to the northwest, we do feel like many of these counties will get canceled from that tornado watch before 6 o'clock because the environment will become less and less unstable. And that includes the city of Birmingham as we transition now in Birmingham over the next 15 to 20 minutes to a significant flash flooding threat. We'll have to watch this very carefully over the next couple of hours. So please do not get out and drive in this unless you absolutely have to, only if it's an emergency, Alex.
Michael, thank you so much. I wanted to give an update on where we sit as far as watches are concerned. Tornado watch for all the counties in yellow here until 6 a.m. We are going to start to see some of these counties get trimmed back, though. So I would expect Lamar, Pickens, Walker, and maybe Fayette counties to get trimmed back before too long as that big line of storms pushes off to the east. Once we get that big line of storms east of you, that tornado threat will wind down and end for the night. So I tend to think for Walker, Fayette, Lamar, you're probably done, and we'll be able to give you that all clear fairly soon. Still have the severe thunderstorm warning for parts of southern and eastern Jefferson County. That's still in effect until 1:45, so technically another 30 minutes, although the sort of business end of that storm will be pushing into Shelby fairly soon, with that line of storms already sort of at 4:59. And pushing south and east. We're going to continue to watch closely, though. This is an area where flooding is likely. That flash flood warning still in effect until 3:45 for parts of Jefferson and Shelby County, essentially along and just to the east and west of Highway 31 and I-65. So just the really urban areas here from Birmingham back down to Alabaster, flash flooding is likely. We again, as Michael has said, it is 1:19 in the morning. If you don't have to be out, please don't be, because this is likely to end up being a pretty significant flash flooding event for Birmingham back down into Shelby County. Severe thunderstorm warning for parts of northeast Shelby County and all of St. Clair County. This warning goes until 2. This is going to be for the far northern end of Shelby County, so north of Chelsea, north of Harpersville. This includes Lee Branch, Inverness, Meadowbrook, Vandiver, Donovan, and Sterrett, and includes Vincent. Vincent included in this warning, and then back up all of St. Clair County, so Ragland, Asheville, Steele, Margaret, Springville, Pell City, and Riverside. This is in effect until 2 o'clock this morning. So those are the warnings that we've got in place in central Alabama. A little bit further to the south, still a tornado warning in place for Marengo County, and that will be making its way towards Dallas and Perry counties next if it holds together. Again, flooding still a big concern. Just because you're not in a flash flood warning doesn't mean that you're not necessarily going to see some flooding around. It just means that the flood threat doesn't quite meet that flash flood criteria. But again, flooding is still something that we'll be watching through the night tonight. It may end up being the bigger threat here over the next few hours, along with that damaging wind threat. Michael.
Alex, still getting some reports of some very gusty wind, as you would imagine. That's the reason we have these severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. In parts of Jefferson County, we've had gusts as high as 52 miles per hour. That's a peak wind from the Birmingham Airport, of course, just east of downtown Birmingham. The tornado warning for Blount County canceled, but we're still dealing with severe thunderstorm warning for the eastern part of Blount County into St. Clair County, just straddling the Etowah County line. But Gadsden and in Etowah County, you are not included in this severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning due to the possibility for damaging straight-line wind and some large hail extending into St. Clair County, Ragland, and farther south along Interstate 20 from Pell City back to the west toward back to the west toward Moody, and also extending into downtown Birmingham, this severe thunderstorm warning. It looks like now the northwest part of Jefferson County, generally along and northwest of Interstate 59, now cleared from that severe thunderstorm warning. But the city of Birmingham along I-65 all the way down to Hoover, Pelham, Alabaster, and Shelby County, you are under a flash flood warning. The city of Birmingham, still the southeast side of the city right there along the Red Mountain Expressway, under a severe thunderstorm warning. So these are rough conditions tonight, heading into very early in these wee morning hours, coming up on 125 on this Wednesday morning. Hueytown getting wet, but Hueytown now cleared from that severe potential, and just heavy soaking rain falling all across Tuscaloosa County. Tuscaloosa, Northport, back over toward Holt, there along Jack Warner Parkway, Interstate 59 and 20, back down to Foster's. So please, we have ponding going on these roadways, even though Tuscaloosa County technically not under a flash flood warning. Just go and consider yourself in that way, because that could happen at any time. Looking live from downtown Birmingham, heavy rain continuing to fall, lightening up just a bit compared to what we had about 20 to 25 minutes ago, but still, it's very heavy. You still see the lightning there on the horizon. Birmingham, the severe part of this storm transitioning to the southeast part of the city, and then down toward Hoover, Highway 31, Interstate 459. These areas, and primary concern not only for flash flooding, but the possibility for some damaging straight-line wind within those exact same areas. Our future scan taking you out over the next hour. You pick out your location here on the map. This is how the radar will look in terms of our heavy rainfall between now and 1 hour from now to about 2:23 this morning. The heaviest rain passing southeast in the southeast Jefferson County, southeast of Interstate 59 and 20. Talladega County, you will be getting very wet. Heavy rain, the possibility for severe weather there in Talladega County over the next hour. Calhoun County along Interstate 20, and then back up Highway 9, taking you all the way back up to Piedmont, Highway 21, that eastern bypass, then eventually taking you back up toward Jacksonville, Highway 431, taking you to that north and northwest part of Calhoun County toward Gadsden, and then the western part of Calhoun County, Ohatchee. So you guys plan on some very heavy rain over the next hour. There's a very high possibility, or at least a likelihood, that some areas in East Alabama could also be included in a flash flood warning. And the severe weather threat looking back to the northwest of us, we're beginning to have some positive news here. The actual severe weather threat winding down. We're getting to a more stable atmosphere northwest of Interstate 59. So let's just hang tight a bit longer. Over the next few hours, things will improve slowly but surely as we head toward sunrise tomorrow morning. Dave?
Hi, Michael. Well, giving Alex a little break here. Excuse me. This morning, we're starting off our day today. Very stormy out there. Many of you get that early rise for you here on this now Wednesday morning. Believe it or not, it's already Wednesday here. And we're still tracking that big line of storms, kind of working its way across part of the Birmingham metro area, heading its way further off there over on and eventually toward the Gadsden area. Pell City, we're talking to you. Ragland area. This storm is working the way on into your neck of the woods here. And these will produce some gusty winds, very heavy rain, a lot of lightning as well, too. And next thing we're kind of transitioning to from the wind and tornadoes is going to be that flash flooding. And that's going to be something we're going to have to keep a close eye on as we go forward here with this line of storms as it continues to kind of work its way across the region here. So again, right now kind of working its way right through the heart of Birmingham, Hoover area, heading toward Pelham, heading over eventually down toward Alabaster, Chelsea, Helena area. We're talking to you, Homewood, Mountain Brook. We're looking at your area. Back over towards, say, the McCalla area, going all the way back toward Vance, Tuscaloosa. You can see pretty heavy thunderstorms over top of you right now. At this point, not necessarily severe, but still producing some pretty good heavy rain out there. The typical low areas that are prone to flooding when you get this much rain, we've got to be careful. We're going to be continuing to watch those as they work their way through the region for you here too, and eventually head back down to Utah. We had reports of damage down there from earlier tornado warning last night, or earlier this morning, if you will. Still seeing some heavy rain coming on in there. Some good news, though, if I kind of back out a little bit, is there, if you're watching us in Walker County, Fayette County, up there toward Winston County, this is it. Severe threat is over for you. So we are no longer have that tornado watch in effect for your areas, which is some good news. We'll continue watching to see still some pretty good downpours coming on in, but not as severe with the weather, which is good news here. But still, nonetheless, we're going to keep an eye on the Metro Birmingham area. I want to kind of zoom in just a little bit here for you and show you exactly what we're talking about. Right through the heart of downtown here on Red Mountain, pretty heavy rain continues to move on in, and we'll continue tracking that for you here. Just kind of give you an idea, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Jefferson County till 1:45. Right now it's 1:26. Another 20 more minutes on that one as it continues to move through. And as you go further, they're often across part of Shelby County, St. Clair County. We are looking at the severe thunderstorm warning a little longer till 2 o'clock in the morning here local time. So we're still going to keep an eye on those as they move on through. Right now, though, kind of looking at the latest with the radar here, not seeing anything too significant. Turn off the lightning here for you. With respect to rotation, what we were watching earlier up near the Aniana area there, heading over its way on in towards a part of the Gadsden area there in Etowah County. Not seeing as much with rotation. That is some good news. Something definitely we'll still keep an eye on, though, if it tries to spin back up again. But it seems to be the northern end of a line of thunderstorms. And when you have that happen there, a lot of times we call it like a comma head here. Sometimes you get a little weak, small-scale area low pressure forming. And that's what we saw. Can't produce tornadoes sometimes, and that's what we had as it went across Blount County there. So we'll continue watching that, but Gadsden about to get some very heavy rain, continue to move on in, heading over toward the Altoona area there, going up eventually toward Albertville and back down toward Raglan. You're just about to get some of the heaviest rain starting to move on into your neck of the woods. So we're going to continue watching this for you as you go on in from Springville area there along I-59, heading to Odenville, heavy rain to Branchville, Wattsville, Coal City, Embry Bend area back toward Raglan. And there you see that heavy rain continues to work its way into your area. Further to the south, as you go down toward I-20, Riverside area there, getting close to Lincoln now. Pretty heavy rain coming on into your area, back over towards Sulphur Springs. So still watching that Highway 77 area there. 231 corridor, very stormy all the way into Pell City. You're getting that heavy rain continuing to move on into Pell City. And we'll keep going back on I-20 here toward Chula Vista, heading all the way back toward Leeds. Very heavy rain continues to fall for you here with some gusty winds potentially. And then eventually going back on in toward the metro area here, over toward Mountain Brook, Homewood area, downtown, back into Hoover. Looks like more of that heavy rain, Indian Springs Village area, heading back down all the way toward the Chelsea area, about to get some of that, heading on into a bunch of Alabaster, Pelham, Helena. Very heavy rain continues to fall for you with some gusty winds and a lot of lightning. Michael?
Well, Dave, the good news, we do not have any active tornado warnings in our area except for south of Birmingham, outside of our DMA for Marengo County, but that is not included within our market. In central Alabama, we do have these storms capable of producing some damaging straight line wind and flash flooding. Back into Mississippi, things beginning to improve as well. So we'll say along this line, from just north of Jackson, Mississippi, I would say near Yazoo City, back toward just north of Meridian, Mississippi, and then Tuscaloosa, points northwest and northwest of there, the severe weather threat is ending. That's the reason the National Weather Service has now canceled the tornado watch for Fayette, Lamar, and Walker counties. So Fayette, Lamar, and Walker counties, you can rest well for the rest of this evening. Just get you some nice sleep. This is good sleeping weather, by the way, and you still have several hours to enjoy it before sunrise, before you have to wake up and go to work and school. So Fayette, Lamar, Walker counties, you are now canceled from the tornado watch. Also, Blount and Jefferson counties, it looks like both those counties are canceled from the severe thunderstorm warning. So we'll take you in a little bit closer now. Let's kind of just do a sweep here. The latest, the tornado warning, the severe thunderstorm warning for Blount and Jefferson canceled. Technically, still much of Jefferson, the southeast part of Birmingham, still dealing with very heavy rainfall as we look at the latest scans coming in. So it does now appear that the city of Birmingham and Jefferson County canceled from the severe thunderstorm warning. That said, on the flip side, we're still dealing with very heavy rain all the way up and down I-65, Highway 31. Birmingham, Homewood, Hoover, Mountain Brook, down to Pelham and Alabaster under a flash flood warning. That flash flood warning, I believe it's till 3:45 this morning. So that flash flood warning for downtown Birmingham, the entire interstate system, and certainly the secondary roads, the traditional areas that flood, they are very likely receiving flash flooding right now. So that's the reason we do not want you out on the roadways. Tuscaloosa, you are not under a warning, but heavy rain. Tuscaloosa, Northport, back down toward Foster's, the western part of Tuscaloosa, heading into Pickens County, and all the way up and down the Interstate 59 and 20 from Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and the eastern part of Alabama. Anniston and Oxford, you're getting some light showers. I know you've kind of been missing out on the action for much of the night, but the heavier rain also moving in your direction. Looking live from downtown Birmingham, the rain lightening up just a bit. Remember, about 15 to 20 minutes ago, you could hardly see the skyline at all. It was raining that heavily, so conditions are improving from northwest to southeast, and that will remain the case over the next several hours. And we do expect additional counties to get canceled from this tornado watch as we approach the about 2 to 3 in the morning. I think additional counties will get canceled. But check in on the future scan now, how the radar will look over the next hour. You can pick out your location here. The heavy rain that's falling in Tuscaloosa right now, that will shift down toward Brent over the next hour. The heavy rain falling along 459 right now, extending into Shelby County, the southern part of Shelby County, St. Clair counties, Talladega counties, and between now and 2:30, the heaviest rain will likely continue to move on east of Gadsden, then eventually into the eastern part of Calhoun County, east of Anniston, and into Cleburne County, approaching Heflin. Dave.
We're talking about the heavy rain that's been falling. Look at some of the Doppler radar estimated totals here. We can see across part of Blount County, St. Clair County, heading back to Jefferson County, 2, 3, 4 inches of rain, even a spot near 5 inches not far from Springville area. So all this, of course, is going to lead to potential flash flooding concerns for you. We do have that flood watch in effect about 6 o'clock this morning here. We still have to continue watching this. We'll continue as the streams and creeks start rising out there. Just be aware we will start to see some that water continue to maybe spread over some roadways too. As you go further back to the west, still 2, 3 inches of rain according to the Doppler radar estimates just from the last 6 hours. So we're talking quite a bit of rain has fallen over the area. Granted, a lot of the streams, creeks, local rivers were really low since it's been dry for so long, but nonetheless, though, we're still dealing with now more of a heavier rain. We still have one severe thunderstorm warning in effect here until, say, 2 o'clock this morning, but we're still going to be watching also for flash flooding concerns here. We do have a flash flood warning in effect here across part of Jefferson and Shelby counties. That goes until a little later on this morning. So let me go ahead and clear out some of those totals for you here and show you what we're talking about with that flood warning till 3:45. Again, be careful. Shades Creek area could be coming up fairly quickly out there, especially with this new batch of rain adding to what we've already seen all night long for this, the heavy rain that's continuing to fall out there. We may see more of these flash flood warnings popping up as we go forward here throughout the rest of the overnight hours here to early on the morning. So you can see here again that heavy rain and severe weather continue to work its way through St. Clair County here, heading back over to parts of Shelby County at this point as well. So we'll continue watching these storms as they move further there off there to the east. Let me go ahead and loop this for you. They're going to run into a not as favorable environment to have severe weather. That is some great news, right? As the storms kind of work their way closer toward the Georgia border there, we are going to be looking at them and kind of weakening a little bit, which is good news to head toward the Atlanta area. But still, those we have here kind of pushing south, right south of Birmingham into Shelby County, eventually on into Chilton County. We have to keep an eye on all these. You still have not had a ton of storms down here so far overnight, and the atmosphere is still somewhat favorable for you to get potentially maybe some damaging winds out there. Can't rule out a tornado threat, although the threat is kind of diminishing at this point, but still we have to watch out for these as they move on into our Brent, Calera, Jemison, Clanton area. They're heading back to Coosa, Tallapoosa counties, heading back into parts of Sylacauga as well too. So we're still going to watch all of that. New severe thunderstorm warning just coming out for Calhoun and Talladega County there till 2:30. Let's go back up here and show you where that one is here, kind of working its way back to the north. We're going to see these storms still producing some gusty winds, the main threat with these as they work their way on in. You can see there as we go on in toward Anniston, Jacksonville area, they're back toward Talladega, Lincoln. We're talking to you. These storms now have the chance as they're moving on into your area, producing maybe 60-mile-per-hour winds or greater. We're also talking about some very heavy rain falling with this as well too. And I can't rule out a threat for a tornado, at least at this point though. We're not seeing anything that looks interesting enough on the radar. We'll go ahead and take a look at that and show you just what we're talking about. And You can see here, not seeing any kind of circulation coming in, but right along that line, though, sometimes you can get a quick little spin up trying to develop, and that'll be something we'll be watching to see if that tries to do that. It did it earlier back across Blount County and near that far from Aniana. So that's just that line itself, that part of that rotation has weakened considerably. It's no longer a threat anymore. But as we get closer on in, we're going to start watching some of these storms continue to get heading through the Ragland area there back toward Lincoln, Jacksonville, Weaver. We're talking to you with the storms continue to work their way on into your area there, heading back around 431, Interstate 20, of course, keeping an eye on that. Highway 78 is going on into 231. Things will be a little better for you over in Pell City with respect to some of the heavier rain moving on out of your area. Just about to move out through Pell City, kind of the back edge of the heaviest rain that you just had for the last, say, 10 minutes. It'll continue moving its way on in toward Lincoln, Jacksonville, Weaver area there, going back all the way farther south toward Talladega, heading over toward the Delta area there, and it continues further south as we go on in. Watch out, Vincent, Childersburg, nothing yet for you, but it's coming this way toward Wilsonville. You can see back Chelsea, pretty heavy rain and storms coming on into your area right along Highway 280, back toward Helena, Alabaster. You can tell how strong the storms have been pretty intense coming on in. Highway 31, Highway 65 corridor area there, back toward Glen Forest, Brantleyville, Toulouse area, Bamford. It's still dealing with some very heavy rain and not necessarily winds up to 60 miles per hour, but still you can get 40-mile-per-hour winds out there. That's enough to knock down some trees, possibly cause some power outages, and that's something we'll have to possibly deal with here over the next couple of hours as the storms continue to move on in. Fortunately, this is the back edge of all the storms here, and we don't really have anything behind this, which is some good news. You can see there's some rain, but the worst of the strongest and severe storms kind of leading the way here from about Gadsden area through Alabaster to about Tuscaloosa, and then heading down toward Utah, and then back not too far away from Meridian, Mississippi. Seems to be the kind of the leading edge of the strongest or last batch of the strongest storms we're talking about, continuing to move on in. But now we're going to be still dealing with a few severe storms here, moving on in toward eastern Alabama. Again, those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here. This one until 2:30. It does include Calhoun County, Talladega County there until 2:30 in the morning. So we're going to watch out for that. Just don't want to be out and about in this. If you're just waking up and tuning in, we appreciate that. Continuing to go with our coverage here with these severe storms. At the moment, no more tornado warnings. That's our hope that we won't see any more as we go forward through the rest of the morning. But it's definitely something we'll have to keep an eye on. Some of the leading edge of the storms here. Again, as mentioned, as the storms kind of work their way on into far eastern Alabama toward the Georgia state line, atmosphere is just not as favorable for severe weather to persist like it was here in Birmingham and obviously further to the west as we got into last night over into Mississippi. But now we're kind of transitioning from a few severe thunderstorms to that heavy, heavy rain out there. And just want to kind of highlight what's going on here in Birmingham Metro. You can see right now it's the heaviest rain kind of just exiting the city. It is moving through Hoover, heading further south toward the Pelham area there and heading over toward Alabaster. Now Chelsea, we're talking to you, heading toward Lakeview area, back not far from Bessemer, Hueytown area, McCalla. A lot of this area here, that's where we're dealing with, again, some heavy rain. If you're in an area prone to there's some flooding out there. We have a stream or creek nearby that rises anytime we get 1 to 2 inches of rain. Need to keep a close eye on that here early on this Wednesday morning because we could see potential flooding with that as well too, especially in areas there from Hoover to Pelham. We've seen a lot of flooding in recent times here with some heavy rain coming in. 2, 3, 4 inches of rain does cause some issues, some roads to be flooded out there. Fortunately, this is not going to be a long-term event. It's going to continue here for a few more hours, and then after that, the weather actually is going to drastically improve for us here, which would be some good news as we go forward here through the morning. Once we get past this batch of line of storms here, go ahead and look here at our Futurecast, and it'll show you that we are going to be dealing with the weather kind of improving a little bit. You'll notice here, again, we are talking about this line of storms. This is 1 o'clock in the morning, kind of pushing its way through the area, but shortly thereafter, it stops, and then we're actually looking at some better weather continuing to come on through the region. So we will start to see some improving weather moving forward here. Michael, you were just talking about that a little bit ago. This line of storms, once it moves on in, things are going to be a little bit better for much of central Alabama.
And surely over the next couple of hours, things will improve as we get closer to sunrise. Just looking at this storm report that came in from Walker County, the emergency manager reports some wind damage, trees and power lines down in numerous locations around Walker County, including Boldo, Sipsey, and Piney Woods. So we are getting some damage reports now coming in from Walker County, trees and power lines down in numerous locations throughout Walker County from the storms that moved through earlier. Conditions, though, improving in Walker County. In fact, fact, let's see, the tornado watch has been canceled for 3 counties, Fayette, Lamar, and Walker County. So Fayette, Lamar, and Walker counties, we can now give you the all clear. You can just enjoy the rest of this this very rainy evening. Hopefully you're just at home and in just some good old sleeping weather. But looking live
This has been a severe
at University Boulevard, you can see that spray coming up off I-65. So this is rough travel conditions. We do have ponding taking place on the roadways all across central Alabama, including the interstate systems. As we progress now, going a little bit forward in our graphics on what's happening, we have this severe thunderstorm warning for Calhoun County and Talladega counties along Interstate 20 from east of Lincoln, right there at the Honda plant, along I-20. Quintard Avenue, going through downtown Anniston, from Oxford, the Quintard Mall, downtown Anniston, Noble Street. You're getting wet. The heaviest rain just west of the city of Anniston, moving through Ohatchee, getting closer right there, getting closer to Highway 204. That takes you from Highway 431 all the way to Jacksonville, and then Piedmont. You're getting some light rain, but the heaviest rain just along and west of a line from near Ohatchee, Ragland, back up toward Gadsden, just southeast of Rainbow City. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning for Calhoun County due to the possibility for damaging straight line wind, perhaps some large hail, but the main severe weather threat, damaging straight line wind. Same thing for Talladega, heading up toward Interstate 20. The city of Talladega, along with Talladega Superspeedway, Pell City, along and east of Highway 231, between Pell City and Lincoln, very heavy rain falling right there along Interstate 20. Birmingham, I-65 points south all the way down to Pelham and Alabaster. We have a flash flood warning in effect, and you know the typical areas that flood, and that's likely happening right now in and around the city of Birmingham. The northern part of Jefferson County, you are not under the flash flood warning, and the severe thunderstorm warning we had has been canceled or either allowed to expire, except for those eastern counties over the eastern part of Alabama heading toward the Georgia state line. The city of Tuscaloosa and Northport, heavy rain continuing to fall, but nothing severe. But again, we very well likely have some flash flooding occurring in some locations, although the National Weather Service not issuing a flash flood warning for Tuscaloosa County, at least not as of right now. Checking in on 280 at Grandview. I know it's dark, you can't see a whole lot, but traffic moving lightly and smoothly, so that's good news. Let's keep that up. So if you have to get out this evening, early this morning that is, just take it easy, and things will continue to improve. We don't want you to get in any type of danger with the ponding and the flash flooding on some of these roadways. The live view from downtown Birmingham, just about 20 to 25 minutes ago, you couldn't see the skyline at all, and you see still some lightning flashing on the horizon, looking toward the south, where the heavier thunderstorms are moving. So the city of Birmingham, things are improving for you over the next 25 to 30 minutes, but still very heavy rain falling in the Shelby County, St. Clair counties, and Sumter, Greene, and Hale counties. Also Bibb counties getting wet. So there's still the possibility within those areas south and southeast of Interstate 59 especially, we could still have the potential for a few brief spin-up tornadoes. We're not expecting anything in the form of these large long-track tornadoes, at least not in central Alabama, but these areas that have been fairly untapped, the moisture levels, and wow, I just saw a major light. Did you see that? A major lightning strike there on the horizon in Birmingham. We captured that here on this tower camera. But just southeast of Birmingham, within those areas, south of Tuscaloosa, we could still have the potential for a few brief isolated spin-up tornadoes, especially as you head farther down to the south toward Montgomery as well. So we're not out of this, but things will continue to improve gradually as we progress to the sunrise hours by around 6 o'clock or so. That's when the last tornado watch is expected to expire, but we do plan on the National Weather Service canceling some of those watches in certain counties before that time. Dave.
All right, Michael. Yeah, a lot of energy is still out there. Excuse me, allowing these storms to pop up and produce a lot of lightning, too. Kind of looking at our lightning tracker here, you'll see here that the storms are still producing quite a bit out there, especially if you in Gadsden, excuse me, Anniston area back toward Talladega. We're still watching that, and the line all the way back down to Tuscaloosa, a lot of lightning. So many of you are probably getting up early, kind of turning on the TV. Whoa, the storms are still pretty bad. As we told you last night, Alex was talking about how long this is going to last. Multiple waves of storms coming through the area here. This, fortunately, looks like it is the last part of that, all those waves coming on in. It's slowly moving through, but once it does, eventually will clear things out. So by sunrise today, Everything's going to be quiet, and the sunshine actually going to be out. That's how quick this will be clearing out of the region here. So we'll be still watching that, but notice all the intense lightning we have up there near the Gadsden area there, heading back toward Anniston and Talladega. That's we still have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect till about 2:30 this morning for you there. Again, still watching out there, Jacksonville, Anniston. We're still keeping an eye on that all the way back down toward Delta, Talladega. Still going to keep an eye on all these storms as they move through the region here. The biggest threat for you is going to be some strong winds, potentially up there right around the, say, 60 mile per hour with the storm. So let me go ahead and stop that loop for you. And you can see here what we're talking about as it goes on in from center back toward Jacksonville and Anniston. Go look at another product we look at here, talking about how much wind shear there is and where some of the strongest winds would be. And that's going to be, excuse me, right along here. You can see where we're talking about this line of green you see. That is where some of the strong winds are going to be. So kind of coming right on in toward Anniston right now. You can see around Highway 431, Interstate 20, going toward Oxford and Friendship area there, Sachs, Weaver. This is where that line is. Morrisville, back toward Byron area there, and Ritchie-town. So strong winds coming on in. You probably are feeling those winds. You probably hear it roaring outside out there with the wind. So definitely going to keep watching those storms as they move on through. That line continues to kind of work its way further south there as you go over toward Talladega itself, coming just south of the Lincoln area, the Howells Cove area, and then kind of stretching its way back down, not too far away from Logan Martin Dam area, back toward Harpersville. So down Highway 21, Highway 76, 231, 280 area there. And they can watch all of these as those storms kind of producing some pretty gusty winds across the region. So as that moves on in, we're seeing the storms kind of exiting Shelby County and St. Clair County now, and then heading on in there toward the Talladega area there, and then heading back further north there towards about Jacksonville. And as you get toward Gadsden, you still have some pretty heavy rain falling for you, but we're not dealing with, again, as intensive as storms. That has now moved over towards center, kind of working its way eventually toward Cherokee County, but still very heavy rain. Not really looking at anything beyond this other than some very steady rain continuing to fall. Not as heavy, which is good news, but still a lot of lightning tied in with this line as it continues to move on in. You can see here kind of stretching its way south of Birmingham now. The heaviest part of the storms are gone, but still a lot of lightning coming on in. If you're watching us down there in Shelby County, you're now feeling the brunt of this at this point. No severe thunderstorm warnings for the Alabaster area toward Pelham, back towards, say, Chelsea, but we still have to deal with very heavy rain. Again, this area has known to do some flooding concerns. If you've been in an area that does have rising water when you get 2, 3, 4 inches of rain, definitely keep an eye on those streams and creeks out there. We still have that flash flood warning in effect till 3:45 this morning for those areas around down I-65, Highway 31 through Alabaster, and heading down further to the south there. We'll see that kind of stop as you get down toward Chilton County. But over toward Chelsea, 280 corridor, very heavy rain. East Saginaw, heading back down toward Joinertown area there, heading back down toward Country Hills. And as you get toward Shelby County Airport, that's about where that leading edge of those storms are located. So if you're watching us in Montevallo, in Calera, yeah, those storms are coming on into your neck of the woods here now. Highway 25 corridor there, that is what we're talking about. It's just about to come on in the southern part there of into Shelby County and into Chilton County. And you go down toward Ocampo and then further down toward Thorsby, Lomax area, Campbell. You have some rain coming on in for you right now. It's light rain, but these storms are headed your way. A lot of heavy rain, gusty winds out there, and also dealing with more in the way of possible flash flooding concerns. West Blockton area back toward Vance and Duncanville area. We're going looking at some very heavy rain continuing down the high 5920 corridor right in toward Tuscaloosa now. Fortunately, the Tuscaloosa area getting a little break from the worst of it. That means we're actually getting a better improving weather for you. Still have some heavy rain coming on in toward Moundville, but we're still going to see things kind of improving back toward Alsville, Reform, Gordo along Highway 82. Things are looking a little better. The rain's not near as heavy for you at the moment, which is some good news. But we are still going to be dealing with more of that heavy rain coming into parts of Greene, Hale counties, Utah area, Greensboro. You're about to get some of those heavier downpours. At the moment, nothing severe, which is great news. And as we zoom out, the only tornado warning we had was down in Marengo County earlier. That fortunately looks like it's going to be more of a severe thunderstorm warning now as it continues to move on in closer towards Selma there in Dallas County. We're still watching some of those storms continue to work their way that way. That part of the state has not had much in the way of some storms, and you can see zoom out even more. We do have some bigger storms coming in not too far away from Hattiesburg, kind of the tail end of this as it moves on in. There was a report of a confirmed tornado not too far away from Macomb, Mississippi just a little while ago, but you can see at the moment though things are looking better, quieter back there to the west of us over towards Starkville. Things are not so bad there. Let me go ahead and kind of zoom out here and kind of do more of a widespread radar, and then kind of zoom out and show you that. You can see back toward Tupelo, Greenville area, the weather is pretty much quiet, and that's going to continue what we're seeing here. The back edge of this rain, the stronger storms coming through now, the back edge of those, and then the rain itself should come to an end here probably by, say, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So still another 2-3 hours of this to still contend with, but at least the worst of it seems to be kind of working its way southward as it moves into Georgia. Nothing's been severe there, not expected to be, at least for now, because the environment just not so favorable for that. Michael?
Yeah, Dave, we're getting toward the end of this, getting closer and closer, approaching the ninth inning or the fourth quarter, whichever analogy you want to use, but still dealing with some heavy rain and strong thunderstorms. Make no mistake about that. Looking live from Calhoun County, very frequent lightning. There was a strike right there. This camera is labeled Anniston, but it's located between Anniston and Jacksonville, really close to Weaver, just north of Linlock, close to Weaver, along Highway 21, taking you into Jacksonville. So some very frequent lightning. And this severe thunderstorm warning continuing now for Calhoun County until 2:30. So Calhoun County, Talladega counties under this severe thunderstorm warning due to the possibility for damaging straight line wind. So Oxford back over toward Chocolaca, Highway 9, but going back up toward Piedmont and eventually the southern end of Cherokee County. Now, Piedmont and Calhoun County, you are not under this warning, but Jacksonville you are. So Highway 204, US 431, then heading back over toward Ohatchee, the eastern part of St. Clair County, Ragland, coming out of Ragland into Ohatchee. Of course, that area notorious over the years for severe weather, that part of Calhoun County. Heading back down toward Lincoln, Highway 77 running from Ohatchee down to Lincoln and eventually taking you down to Interstate 20. So this is not a good time to be traveling along Interstate 20 from Oxford, Quintard Avenue, back to the west toward Pell City. So we'll say between Highway 231 and US 431, let's not travel on this area unless we absolutely have to. We have a severe weather occurring and also very heavy rainfall likely ponding there along Interstate 20. And of course, many of these roads, especially in East Alabama, they're windy roads, so it'd be very easy to hydroplane. So we want you to stay safe. So don't get out unless you have to. Fortunately, you still have a ways to go, hours to go before we head into rush hour before you have to start getting ready for work and school. Now, this severe thunderstorm warning continuing for the extreme northeast part of Shelby County, north of Harpersville, we'll say north of 280, northeast of Chelsea, back up 231 to Vincent, then heading back on up along 231 to Pell City. A flash flood warning running along Interstate 65, downtown Birmingham. That includes the 459 corridor, cutting off right there toward Interstate 20. So Interstate 20, 459, all the way down to Hoover, up to Birmingham, and down to Alabaster along I-65. Each of those areas in Jefferson County and Shelby counties under a flash flood warning. So you know these typical flood-prone areas. Please do not travel on these roads and by any means, and by all means, please turn around if there's any type of standing water, because it is a very dangerous situation. It's nighttime. You can't tell how deep that water is, and even in the daylight, we don't urge you driving through these areas that have standing water on the roadways. Looking live again at downtown Birmingham, beginning to lighten up a bit. You couldn't even see the city about 1.5 hours ago because the rain was so heavy. I mean, it was raining in sheets across this part of Jefferson County. Still some lightning on the horizon, but conditions now improving in the city of Birmingham, except for the flash flooding threat. And even that threat beginning to shift farther to the south. This is our future scan over the next hour. So we'll say between now and 2:30, we'll say we're actually between now and 3 o'clock. We're already coming up on 2 o'clock. So this takes you over the next hour. Between now and around 3 o'clock this morning, conditions drastically improving along and northwest of Interstate 59, and we do expect many counties to be canceled from this tornado watch well in advance of 6 o'clock this morning. But still, south of Birmingham, we're talking about places like the southern part of Sylacauga, and I know we haven't talked about Clay County very much. Roanoke and Randolph County still dealing with a severe weather threat, although you are not under a tornado watch. The conditions are not nearly as favorable over East Alabama and West Georgia compared to what we've had over much of Central Alabama and certainly much of Mississippi. The severe weather parameters were maximized over Mississippi today, and that's really carrying over toward many areas. Although we're still dealing with that rain, thunderstorms going back into Mississippi, the main severe weather area will shift a bit farther to the south, well south of Birmingham, heading back toward Montgomery. So we'll have to watch that area carefully. So don't travel down to Montgomery this morning because there's still that atmosphere has not really been tapped into. But fortunately, the overall severe weather setup, the severe weather dynamics will lessen up for all of us as we get closer and closer to early tomorrow morning, early towards sunrise. Alex, it's already early in the morning, so we're talking about towards sunrise this morning.
Yeah, we've been here a minute, Michael.
And
It has been a minute. It has really been a minute. I want to say this, and this is honestly shocking to me considering the way this is set up today. We've got the flash flood warning in place for Jefferson and Shelby County. I want to stress, we still think there's a threat here. We have no reports from Jefferson or Shelby County of any flooding issues at this point. Now, it may just be that folks have heeded the warnings, they have stayed off the roads, they are in their house, and the flooding's not bad enough to threaten any of the homes that sometimes deal with this. But, man, the way this set up today, I thought for sure once we got this warning, we're going to have problems. And again, we'll show you why. We'll go to downtown. Radar estimating over 3 inches of rain over the past 6 hours. We'll go back towards Pelham, Indian Springs, nearly 3 inches. Alabaster, nearly 3 inches of rain there. Parts of western Shelby County higher than that, 4 inches of rain. And that would be enough, typically, to get us some flooding issues. Now, again, hopefully it's just a situation where we don't have any, or if we do, it's just in a couple of minor spots and it's not a big issue. But truly, I thought when we got this warning, the way things had set up, we'd had that band of heavy rain set up over northern Shelby, southern Jefferson County. We had this big band of thunderstorms move through. I thought, oh, this is it. We're going to start hearing about the flash flooding as this moves through. Honestly, and it's fantastic news. I'm shocked we haven't heard anything. Again, some of these creeks are going to continue to rise. They're going to continue to go up as the runoff continues to push in. It's not going to immediately stop as the heavy rain stops. But the fact that we haven't had any reports yet is fantastic. More good news is I have not seen a ton of damage reports out of this segment of the storm that has a severe thunderstorm warning on it. This is still in effect for parts of Talladega and Calhoun counties. So Jacksonville, Anniston, back down through Lincoln, Talladega. This does not include Childersburg, Sylacauga, or any of the southern end of Talladega County. Looks like we got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Clay and Cleburne. So they're going to extend this further to the east, all the way out to the state line. So still the potential here for a few damaging wind gusts. We'll put the lightning back on it. Still plenty of it as this moves through. I'll take a sneak peek here at that Anniston camera and see what that looks like. Again, some of the heaviest rain is pushing east of this now, but you saw the big flash of lightning there. These are really intense thunderstorms. Also want to point out, again, we do think there could still be some minor flooding today. I am truly, I mean, it is fantastic news. I am shocked that we have not had bigger flooding issues. Weather Service noting parts of Bibb, Greene, Hale, Jefferson, Pickens, Sumter, and Tuscaloosa County. So basically from Birmingham west, we could see some minor flooding issues. It's not quite the flash flood warning criteria. That flash flood warning still in place, extending from North Birmingham back through Homewood, Hoover, Pelham, Indian Springs, Helena, and Alabaster. This goes until 3:45. And again, still some heavy rain falling in Pelham, Indian Springs, some moderate rain falling in Hoover. Birmingham, you've got a steady light rain, but the heavy stuff is done for you tonight. Doesn't mean you're totally out of the woods yet, but again, that is good news so far on this warning. I am surprised we have not seen bigger issues as of yet with the heavy rain still falling. They're still falling right now in Pelham, Alabaster. We're going to continue to watch some of the creek levels here. Cahaba Valley Creek that runs down along 119 and then down 31 feeds into Buck Creek. Those two creeks can have some problems when we get this much rain, so we'll keep a close eye on those. Obviously, places like Hoover, Vestavia, we know there are spots where we see problems. I mean, it amazes me that as much rain as we've seen, that River Chase at Highway 31, River Chase area, I mean, that always floods, right? We don't have reports of it right now. I can't tell you it's not flooded. I haven't been out there to drive through it, and my recommendation is hey, let's just stay home and not find out for a few hours. Just stay inside, let the rain pass you on by. Again, by tomorrow morning, if you're heading out the door, heading to work, this is gone. No problems for you unless you're starting your morning commute at 4 a.m. you should be fine as far as all this really nasty weather. Might be a couple of sprinkles lingering around, but the rough stuff will be gone. So that's fantastic news. We're going to continue to track this, though. Tornado watch still in effect. We'll pop this up for you here and show you where we still got that tornado watch in place. Again, a few counties have been trimmed off, but from Pickens, Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, Shelby, and Coosa counties and points to the west and southwest, a tornado watch still in effect until 6 a.m. for all the counties you see there in yellow. So we're continuing to monitor this closely. There's still some spin and some unstable air, but it does look like we're transitioning more to a strong straight line wind threat, and again, that flooding threat that we've been talking about. We have been blessed that that has not been a big issue. We'll point out that it looked for a minute like this storm was going to cycle down and maybe we'd be done with it. This is the storm that's well south of us. This was the storm that was prompting a tornado warning for Marengo County. They let this expire briefly. Now a new tornado warning for, it looks like, Dallas County. And that's going to go until 2:45. If you've got some friends over in Selma, may want to let them know that this is heading their way and they need to get into a tornado-safe place as that starts to move on towards the city of Selma. Long term, you can see the track here. We'll just sort of draw it. I think it's too far out to really give you a storm track because at this point, no telling what this thing's going to do. But this probably stays south of Chilton, and Coosa could be an issue for parts of Tallapoosa County, though, before all is said and done. So we'll keep an eye on that as we head through the rest of the evening into, well, I guess the rest of the morning now, isn't it? As it is again past midnight, now sitting at 2 a.m. So, Michael, again, the thing that shocks me so much, this event has unfolded about how we expected. The fact that we don't have flooding or significant flooding reports in the Birmingham metro is kind of shocking to me at this point.
Yeah, that's tremendous. And we also have plenty of time to get this out of here, and we feel like we will, for the most part, just in time for rush hour. So any substantial buildup of water that we have on the roads that perhaps aren't being reported yet, the bulk of that should get out of here in time for rush hour. But still, allow plenty of extra time as you head to work and school later on this Wednesday morning. Sometimes you lose a track of time, but this is Wednesday morning at 2 o'clock. Still heavy rain, though, and falling as we kind of take a tour here of our cameras. So this is I-65 Alabaster. Traffic moving smoothly, very light, running fairly slow, but that's good. We want you to slow down and continue to move. There's I-65 near downtown Birmingham, University Boulevard. Notice that spray coming up from the road. So we have some ponding taking place, but traffic is moving smoothly right now in Birmingham. Calhoun County, where we continue to have this severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the eastern part of Calhoun County. You're looking live very close to Weaver between Anniston and Jacksonville. This camera located close to Highway 21. Still some frequent lightning, but the worst of the weather now just east of downtown Anniston, near Highway 9, east of Highway 431. As you head from downtown up Greenbrier Road and back over toward DeArmonville, getting heavy rain in that area, just north of Interstate 20. Extending to the east into Cleburne County. We now have a severe thunderstorm warning for Cleburne and Randolph counties. Technically, Cleburne County and Randolph counties, they belong to the Atlanta television market, but we'll take care of you too right here on CBS 42. Even though you might not get us on your cable channel lineup or your satellite lineup, you can still watch us live on our streaming online. So we care about you too there in Cleburne and Randolph counties. Also Clay County, northern part of Clay County, you have a severe thunderstorm warning, and continuing to monitor this flash flood warning in effect for Birmingham along I-65 all the way to the south toward Alabaster, and we are continuing to look and monitor for any reports coming in. Here's one that just came in a couple minutes, or actually a minute ago. This is from Chula Vista in St. Clair County. Thunderstorm wind damage, multiple trees down at various locations across St. Clair County. We've also received very similar reports from Walker County, but as far as the flooding situation, just not hearing much. So that's good news. No news is good news, so let's keep it that way. And again, we still have a while for things to improve as we get towards sunrise. The back edge of these thunderstorms will continue to push on through Birmingham. The live view from the BJCC, it's still raining. It's not a walk in the park by any stretch, but the severe weather threat, it's over with for Birmingham. So this is our future temperature scan to show you how the radar will look over the next hour. South of Interstate 20, that's where the heaviest rain will continue to move on through, crossing into Georgia, out of Cleburne County into Haralson County, Georgia, and then eventually over toward Tallapoosa, Georgia. So if you're traveling, even though conditions are going to improve in East Alabama, if you're traveling from, we'll say, Anniston or Heflin back over toward Atlanta, still getting some heavy rain right there along Interstate 20. And of course, traffic's bad enough in and around Atlanta without the rainfall, so you can just better bet if you happen to be traveling east this morning, allow plenty of extra time. So our conditions now, Birmingham down to Hoover, Alabaster, that kind of that sliver, we'll call it, of Jefferson County along I-65 into Shelby County, still under a flash flood warning until 3:45 this morning. Back into Mississippi, now we still have rain falling, but the severe weather threat winding down. We'll call it along and north of Interstate 20, things looking much better. However, south of Birmingham down toward Montgomery, we do have still that tornado warning in effect, and that's approaching just to the west, getting closer to the city of Montgomery, and that if it holds together, it would cross over the I-65 corridor and I-85. Of course, I-85, I-65, that's the major interstate system crossing through Montgomery, but that's out of our DMA. But just keep in mind, if you're traveling to the south, there's still a much greater severe weather risk south of Birmingham and certainly into Mississippi. It looks like Pike and Walthall counties, that tornado, likely tornado moving out of near Macomb and then Pike County and Walthall County. So don't travel south, don't travel southwest this morning. But for our purposes here, the rain will continue to lighten up a bit between now and 6 o'clock in the morning. Looking for the latest information from the National Weather Service. Good news now for East Alabama, Calhoun County and Talladega counties. Both those counties, that includes Anniston, Oxford, down to Talladega, you are now canceled from the severe thunderstorm warning. So with that, Dave, the only area that we have in our DMA, technically our DMA, under an active warning, in terms of a severe thunderstorm warning, the northern part of Clay County, again, Randolph, northern Randolph and Cleburne County, technically belonging to Atlanta, but still we're looking after you here. And also that flash flood warning for Birmingham and points south along I-65. So technically we are down right now to 2 warnings across central Alabama.
Yeah, that's right, and you can see there.
That's your CBS 42 Storm Team forecast. I'm meteorologist Sal
South,
Puckett.
and as it continue to do so, you'll see those storms building southward here, but they're kind of clearing Birmingham, Coleman, Jasper, Fayette, Tuscaloosa. The weather is improving for you, which is good news. Now we just have that rain, kind of a gentle rumble of thunder out there. Good sleeping weather, especially if you've been up since early this morning here with us. But you can still see we do have those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Clay, Cleburne, and Randolph County until 2:45 here. That's the warning there again. So we're still going to be watching those as they continue on to the east here. The main threat with those is going to be that damaging wind threat as well as some very heavy rain. But that line continues to work its way southward. Let me go ahead and take the lightning off. Alabaster, Calera area, heading back toward Brent and just heading this way toward the just south of Tuscaloosa, Moundville, back toward Greensboro. Get ready. You're going to get some more of those storms too. And we're still watching the storm here with a tornado warning down across Dallas County here right now. It's looked a little impressive at times here, kind of get a little bit stronger, had a little hook on it as well too, and possibly even briefly maybe a little debris signature we saw earlier with it as well. This one is out of our viewing area here, but still see that strong rotation. It looks like it across not too far away from Highway 80 south of Selma. So if you have friends or family that live down here, Dallas County, the Selma area, you may want to go ahead and pick up the phone and say, hey, if you don't know, there's a tornado warning, tornado going to be coming very close towards Selma, Highway 80 over toward Otaugaville, heading toward Whitehall area. Autauga County may feel the impacts of this as well, too. So watching this one here at the moment, that's the only tornado warning we have in the state for us, and it's outside of our viewing area. But just something to highlight here, there's been some strong rotation with it here and kind of looking at debris, possibly maybe a tornado there showing up with a debris tracker there. So we'll be watching to see how that plays out here. But there's a chance that something may have tried to pop up there briefly with that. So definitely something to keep an eye on just to our south. Again, you have friends and family down that way, Dallas County, Autauga County area. May want to go ahead and give them a call and say, hey, wake up. Possible tornado coming on in very close towards Selma. Fortunately, though, that's not across our region here. That's going to be back down toward Montgomery. They'll keep an eye on that as it works its way down Highway 80. And then further out, you can see that line kind of extends its way back toward Meridian, Mississippi. Nothing's been severe there. The only severe part here is Clay County, Cleburne County out there, as well as northern Randolph County. That's where we have that little area of storms. Kind of zooming on into that to show you here. Again, Heflin, we're talking to you. This is some of the strongest winds we've seen with this one here thus far. And go ahead and take a look at the shear rate here and some of the winds. Not as impressive looking as they once were, which is good news, but still can produce some gusty winds, maybe up to 40 miles per hour. That's enough to knock down a tree, maybe knock over a power line. Could potentially have some power outages there, so something definitely to watch out there across Cleburne County, northern part of Clay County and Randolph counties as well. So that line continues to move on into your region. So we'll still begin to watch that one. Fortunately, though, nothing to worry about with respect to rotation with that. You can see here just some gusty winds are expected with that storm, which is some good news for you with those kind of watching, just kind of heading the way on in toward into Georgia at this point along Highway or Interstate 20. If you're trying to leave the Anderson area, maybe you have to go to Atlanta early this morning, I'd wait till the storms kind of pass their way through here. They'll weaken once they get into Georgia since the atmosphere is not as unstable there as well. The bigger issue, though, we're going to be running into at the moment is going to be the threat for some flash flooding concerns. And you can see here across part of Jefferson and Shelby counties, Alex was just talking about this. Some very heavy rain continues to work its way southward here. Light rain now in Birmingham, not as heavy rain for you across the Hoover area, which is good news. But as you get down toward Helena, Pelham area, the Cahaba River Estates area, very heavy rain. A lot of the creeks out there. We're talking Shades Creek as well through the Homewood area. Need to keep an eye on that one. They're probably up quite a bit out there. So that if it's an area that's prone to flooding, definitely watch over toward Vestavia Bowl area there. Just watch the creek. And as it continues to rise there, a lot of those apartment complexes that are right along the creek as well, too. Farther south, again, the rain not as heavy, Pelham and Alabaster, as it works its way farther south. There's Shelby County Airport. And then heading on in toward Chilton County now, you're going to be getting some of the heavy rain. Right now into Calera. Nothing severe with this, but yes, a lot of lightning, heavy downpours coming on in, maybe wind gusts 30, 40 miles per hour for you with that storm as it comes into Columbiana to Childersburg. Yeah, you got the pretty hefty downpours coming on into your area, Harpersville. Chelsea, the weather is improving. Did reports of some power outages there. Our assistant news director, Mr. Baxley, reporting all kinds of power problems over where he lives, not too far away from that area there. And we're still seeing, again, quite a bit of some rough weather continues to move on in toward Columbiana, Calera area. Jefferson, Thorsby, Clanton, guess what? This is headed your area. Maplesville as well, too. You have some rain, nothing too significant now, but it will be getting a little more intense. You'll see a lot of lightning just off to the north of you. That's going to continue to move on in. Noticing the trend here of not as much lightning. When that happens, that's a good sign. That means the storms are weakening. Still a pretty strong cluster of some lightning over here as you get further on in toward, say, Bibb County here. Brent area, we're looking at these storms as they're coming on in over toward Mertz, Pondville, Spencer, over toward the settlement area there. Kind of watching this here. It's just going to be heavy rain and some gusty winds. Choctaw Hills area. Here's Highway 82 kind of snaking its way through part of Bibb County toward Brent and Vic. West Blockton, some heavy rain continues to fall for you as well, too. And we'll still see these storms kind of working the way on in south of Tuscaloosa now. Mountainville, some pretty heavy rain. Harper Hill, Havana area, Highway 60, looking at that. Highway 69, further south where it's still pretty heavy downpours coming on in right through there. Back toward Melton area, back toward Water Oak and Phipps. Again, earlier today near Utah, we did have reports of some damage out there from a possible tornado earlier in the night, if you will, last evening, I guess it would be now. Still going to get some more heavy rain coming on in toward Allison area there, Waterland Quarters, as well as Knoxville. Back south of Clinton. So this continues to walk its way southward toward Demopolis. If you're watching us down that way, here southern part of Greene and Hale counties, still looking at some pretty rough weather continues to move on in there as well, too. And the line continues to spill its way back over to our Meridian Forest, heading toward Jackson, Mississippi, and points southward. They did have reports of actually a tornado not too far away from Hattiesburg now. If you know, confirmed tornado out there, Lamar County. This one here just outside our area, also kind of even north of Baton Rouge and Livingston Parish. Some pretty rough conditions down there with the tail end of this line. This part of the state and back into South Mississippi, they have not had much in the way of severe weather out there for the day today. So they are actually very warm, more humid, and more favorable for these storms to persist down there. So the tornado threat is going to be shifting more to the south versus across our area, which is some great news. Again, still tracking some severe weather across the area there, across part of Calhoun County on into northern Clay County, northern Randolph County. Strong winds coming through Lineville right now as it moves on in. It's going to continue to bring on in some gusty winds, maybe up to 60 miles per hour with those storms. So we'll continue watching for Lineville, back over toward just north there of Heflin area, getting some pretty heavy rain. But Anniston, the weather is improving. Kind of looking at the camera, which does point off to the east there. Whoops, over toward Anniston. I bet we see a lot of lightning with that one as it comes on in. And you can see here, not as much as what Alex was showing earlier. He shifted to it, and there's a lot of lightning. Still a little bit there from time to time, which is good news. The storms are kind of calming down. The lightning is decreasing, which means the storms are decreasing in intensity, not as potent as they once were. So that is some good news for those of you over on in towards, say, the area there, not too far away from Jacksonville, Anniston area there, Calhoun County. Again, Lineville area there, still in northern Clay County, back to Talladega area, back to Childersburg, Sylacauga. You can see pretty intense line of storm still moving in. Nothing is severe for you all, so that is some good news. We're not talking about that right now for your area, but still looking at pretty heavy rain coming on in. Take a live look now over top of the downtown area, and you can see from our BJCC camera, as Michael was talking about earlier, you couldn't even see downtown earlier. The rain was coming down so hard. Things are looking much better out there for you now. So again, still some rain continues to fall. We're actually going to have the rain for a little while longer here. Let me go ahead and show you a future cast and show you what's going to happen next. So now that we have this rain coming on through the area, what are we going to be looking at here? We'll still have that through here, the 2 o'clock hour. Kind of zooming ahead here, put the temperatures on here. By 3 a.m., we're still at 66 degrees here. Storms continue to push their way southward, but watch what happens by 6 a.m. The rain's gone. The sunshine is out for sunrise here. How about that? And you can see temperatures 49 by 6 a.m. over into the Hamilton area. We're at 61. Alex City coming in about 63 degrees. Everything is gone here by, say, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. By lunchtime, temperatures are down to 52, and this afternoon temperatures falling to 51 by 3 o'clock. So they are going to fall all day today, and as we head on into late this evening by 7 o'clock, lower 40s, and tomorrow morning, watch this, we're talking temperatures around freezing, some even upper 20s possible across the area as we wake up tomorrow. So we are going to be dealing with, again, definitely some colder weather, but some improving weather out there, which is some good news. But in the short term here, still watching for potential flash flooding threat across part of southern part and south central part of Jefferson County, heading on in toward the Hoover area, back down toward Alabaster and Pelham. Those areas, again, prone to getting some flooding. Definitely something we're watching very closely here, Michael, as we go forward here throughout the morning hours. But it looks like this line not near as intense as it once was, but we'll still keep an eye on it.
That's right, Dave. Looking much better than it did a couple hours ago, and for that reason, the National Weather Service now canceling additional counties from the tornado watch. Pickens, Tuscaloosa, and Jefferson counties, you are now canceled. That includes also the counties but farther to the north, Walker County, Fayette, Lamar, Marion. All these counties now canceled along and just northwest of Interstate 59. The counties still highlighted in yellow, technically under this tornado watch. That means conditions are still favorable for a brief spin-up tornadoes within that area. But still, I feel like before 6 o'clock, additional counties will get canceled. So this line, as it continues to move through, once it does move through your location, that is ball game in terms of the severe weather threat. Looking live from Tuscaloosa now, still some lightning. Now, it's not the best of mornings, that's for sure, but the severe weather threat over with now for the city of Tuscaloosa, Northport. Plenty of raindrops on the camera. Looking over the campus of the University of Alabama. This camera pointing northwest. Just on the left side of your screen, if we were to tilt the camera a little bit in that direction, you would see Bryant-Denny Stadium. So that just gives you a point of reference. This is looking over University Boulevard. So the severe thunderstorm warnings that we have in Alabama and over the eastern part of the state, Cleburne County, that's Heflin along Interstate 20, the extreme northern part of Clay County, Mount Cheaha, that area, and Randolph counties. That's north of Roanoke along Highway 431 back up toward Wedowee. Severe thunderstorm warning toward the Georgia state line due to the possibility for damaging straight line wind. But that warning will continue to run. And just looking at some of the latest information, Just now coming in. I'm looking at it as we speak. Numerous trees down in St. Clair County. So now this is yet another report. In St. Clair County, numerous trees down. We've also received a similar report from Walker County, and this will likely be the case across much of central Alabama. As the sun will rise, we'll get a better idea on what we're dealing with. But heavy rain now just east of Anniston. It's moving out of Anniston, out of Calhoun County, and along Highway 231. We're dealing with rain near Childersburg, where Alex Puckett is from, Alex' hometown of Childersburg, and back down to Sylacauga. Excuse me, Alex, you're from Sylacauga, not Childersburg. My bad. Alex is from Sylacauga. This proud resident of Sylacauga much of his life. So Childersburg, then back over toward Columbiana and Chelsea, receiving some heavy rain. Birmingham, Hoover, Pelham, and Alabaster still under a flash flood warning, but still not receiving any significant reports of flash flooding there from Birmingham and Point South. That's fantastic news, but again, it's dark, and it could just be that most of us aren't out to pass along those reports. And let's just keep it that way. But unless you absolutely have to get out, please stay home early this morning, and conditions should be much better as you head off to work and school. So this is the future scan to show you how the radar will look over the next hour. The bulk of the heavier rain continuing to pass on well south of Birmingham, south of Interstate 20, southeast of Interstate 59, and off into Georgia as well. Atlanta right there along I-85 and of course I-75. It's going to be a messy rush hour in Atlanta. I don't think a rush hour ever ends in Atlanta. That's how it feels, and certainly rainfall this time of the morning will not help anything, even though we don't have to deal with Atlanta traffic here. If you are traveling to Atlanta from Anniston, Cleburne County, I know many folks work in the Atlanta metro area, allow plenty of time this morning because it's going to be a mess over there. But for us, by the time rush hour gets here, we're just going to be dealing with some very light spotty showers. The bulk of the rain well south of Birmingham at that time, well south of Interstate 20. Still dealing with a significant severe weather situation southwest Alabama and the south and southeast part of Mississippi. So please don't go in that direction unless you absolutely have to, because they are not out of the severe weather threat. But around here, at least things are looking up for us, and that will continue to be the case over the next several hours. Still some light rain falling along I-22 back into Jasper, Walker County, where we had reports of numerous limbs down, trees down across Walker County, Fayette County, the back edge of the rain approaching you in Fayette and out of Lamar County. So this will continue to remain the trend between now and sunrise this morning. And then as Dave mentioned, it's going to be almost a winter-like day throughout the day on your Wednesday as we get this rain out of here and that cool air continues to slip in from the north.
Yeah, that's right. A big drop in temperatures coming yesterday. We got into the 70s ahead of the storms. You know, this time of year when it gets that warm and that humid, it isn't necessarily a good thing. It may feel good to be that warm outside, but usually we get that severe weather threat. Fortunately, nothing too widespread here. Still reports of some damage across part of the area, so we'll continue to investigate that. We have our crews already out and about checking out things for you here. And, of course, starting at 4:30 in the CBS 42 Morning News, we'll have updates throughout the morning hours as well. So be sure to tune in all the way through 7 o'clock this morning, and then, of course, today at noon, 4, 5, 6, and 10. But nonetheless, though, what we're transitioning now to is that while we don't have a lot of severe weather here across much of the metro area, we still have that rain coming on in. And we talked about yesterday morning, I said the main threat we're going to be dealing with, again, the chance of damaging winds, tornadoes, and heavy flooding rains. Now, we've gotten only one flash flood warning here right now, and that's across part of Jefferson and Shelby counties. This goes till about 3:45 this morning, so we still have another an hour and a half left with this one here. But have not seen any reports yet. Trying to look from the Hoover PD, from Pelham PD, Alabaster PD, anywhere from Jefferson, Shelby County EMAs. If you have any reports, let us know. We haven't seen much out there so far with this, but we can see, again, with these storms, potentially here still with the heaviest rain kind of working its way southward. Interstate 65, Highway 31 corridor out there. There's streams and creeks that we know are prone to flooding when you get 2, 3, 4 inches of rain. That's something to watch out for here. And you can see here, let me zoom back out a little bit and just show you here what we're talking about with respect to rain totals here. Kind of giving you an idea. These are Doppler radar estimates here. So kind of looking at this, you can see here across part of western part there of Shelby County, 4 inches of rain. Birmingham area over 2 inches. Hoover area, we're talking about 3 inches of rain there. Heading back down toward Alabaster and Pelham, near 4 inches of rain for you. Then you head to Pell City here across St. Clair County, 4.5 inches of rain. 5 inches of rain out there. Heading on into parts of Calhoun County, we are looking at quite a bit of rain out there too. 4 or 5 inches of rain too. So if you're you are near an area, stream, creek, drainage ditch that's prone to coming up quickly to get heavy rain, it probably is very high in these areas here. We just have not had any reports yet. So if you have anything, please let us know. You can email me, dnussbaum@cbs42.com. Let me know if you have anything. Find me on meteorologist Dave Nussbaum on Facebook, Dave_Nussbaum on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram as well, too. And let us know so we can relay the reports to the Weather Service. So let them know if we do have some flooding concerns, that there are roads that are being flooded over or washed out potentially out there as well, too. Because traditionally, when we get this much rain here, we usually have some flooding concerns. So that's something to watch out for. So if you're watching those areas, especially in the rural areas there, a part of St. Clair County, heading on to Calhoun County, Talladega County there, further into parts there of Shelby County and Jefferson counties, even up to Blount County. Let us know. Even on Tuscaloosa area, I've had quite a bit of rain is falling for you, too, out there. Maybe 2-3 inches of rain across the region. So this is kind of what we're transitioning to now. The only storms we have right now that are severe are working their way on in close to the state line out there. We're talking Cleburne County, heading on into parts there of Clay County in northern Randolph County, kind of showing you here. I'll kind of zoom on in to those storms and kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. That's the strongest storms. Tallapoosa there over into Georgia, spreading its way back down to Lineville. That's a pretty intense line of storms. Potentially here, maybe winds up to 60 miles per hour with this as it works its way across the state line there. But that's definitely something keeping an eye on. The weather's improved for you. Lincoln, Talladega, Anderson, Jacksonville, Gadsden, back again to Lineville. Still keeping a close eye on that. Childersburg, Sylacauga. Yes, this pretty rough weather continues to work its way through your region. And then you get over to south of Alabaster. If you're watching us from out there, back to Clare and Jefferson, that's still some heavy rain moving on in. Nothing severe at this point, but still could see winds potentially up to 40 miles per hour on top of that heavy rain that continues to fall. This area, part of the viewing area, has not had much in the way of stormy weather throughout the day today. So again, there's enough energy down here to maybe try to give a little more oomph to these storms. So we'll be watching that as the storms come through Chilton County, head further down into Watauga County, and then back into Dallas County. We still have that tornado warning for the storm here. So now the south of Selma, kind of persistent with this one. This one goes until 2:45 this morning. It looked like potentially maybe a little debris showing up the debris tracker. There's a lot of leaves out there, so sometimes if there is something, those leaves can go up in the air quite a bit, and that may actually show that there's debris, but in this case, it may be leaves. So we'll be watching to see that. But nonetheless, though, if this holds together, could work its way toward Wetumpka, Montgomery, or maybe try to resurge out there. Again, those areas of the state I wouldn't go down to this morning till all the storms are done, because they have not had a lot of severe weather out there and rain. So the atmosphere is not what we call worked over, meaning there wasn't a lot of rain out there to try to cool down the air and make it more stable. And that's the case for much of the southern part of the state as well, too. So this area continues to be where we're watching here as you go down toward Greenville, Troy, heading farther southward. Watching a persistent supercell, though. This one's not going to impact our area with a confirmed tornado, just not too far away from Lamar County, Forest County there in Mississippi, near Hattiesburg. So if you have students that are ever at Southern Miss, the storm looks like it's going to be going dangerously close to the Hattiesburg area there. So definitely something to watch with that storm there as it continues to move on in. Kind of looking at just that area there just to show you, because we do have a confirmed tornado there now. Watching that storm as it moves on in. It's kind of embedded here in this heavy rain. It's probably a rain-wrapped tornado with this one, but it's going to be coming very close to Hattiesburg here, right along Interstate 59, Highway 11 corridor there, Highway 49 corridor, back over Norlaurels just to the north there. So again, a confirmed tornado with this storm as it continues to move on in there. That warning goes till 2:45. Again, far away from us, but some of you may have friends or family that are at Southern Miss, so of course the university is taking care of the warnings for them. And nonetheless, though, again, something definitely to keep an eye on for those students that may be over there. Let me go back to our radar here and show you that we do again have that intense line of storms continue to work its way further to the south, and as it pushes southward here, may try to get a little stronger as it gets down toward Montgomery here this morning. Again, that area has been warm, it's been very humid, and they've not had a lot of rain, so this is going to be pushing out of our viewing area here probably by 3 o'clock this morning, and then the weather is going to drastically improve for us actually out there. We're going to see some clearing skies, sunrise coming up, and we're going to see quite a bit of sunshine out there today, but you need to grab your winter coat, Michael, because definitely some colder air is going to be following all the heavy rain and warm muggy air we had today.
That's right, Dave, but cold air means stable air, meaning that we will get out of this situation very quickly over the coming hours. In fact, now the tornado watch being cleared across many counties, Tuscaloosa County, Pickens County, Jefferson County, and points north, all out of the tornado watch. Talladega County not under tornado tornado watch. And by the way, I have to make a correction. I said that our Alex Puckett was from Sylacauga. He's from Childersburg. I had it right the first time, but he corrected me. So Sylacauga is a wonderful place, but you can't claim Alex Puckett because he's from Childersburg. Going forward now, checking in on what's happening all across central Alabama. We do have rain still falling, light drizzle for the most part in Tuscaloosa and Northport. The severe weather threat over with for Tuscaloosa. East Alabama, this severe thunderstorm warning still for extreme northern Randolph County, Clay County, right there from the Mount Chihad and over toward Wedowee along Highway 431 into Randolph County, and Cleburne County along I-20 near Heflin. This is not being extended into Haralson County, Georgia, or Carroll County for that matter, as the conditions are much more stable across the Georgia state line. But this heavy rain will continue to fall, falling now just south of Talladega, down towards Sylacauga along 280, Highway 231 south of Pell City, Harpersville, Columbiana, and of course we still have this flash flood warning in effect for the city of Birmingham down to Hoover along I-65. That's Hoover, Mountain Brook, Homewood, Pelham, Alabaster along I-65, but we're still not receiving, and this is great news, not receiving any significant reports of flooding in and around the city of Birmingham as we continue to monitor all the information coming in here. Nothing as of right now in terms of widespread significant flooding, but there's still a possibility. It's early in the morning. It's possible those reports should start coming in because there's not a whole lot of folks out reporting them. Look at the future scan over the next hour along and northwest of Interstate 59 that is, and north of I-20. The severe weather threat winding down quickly, but still conditions are favorable well south of Birmingham, down toward Montgomery. Dave talked about those thunderstorms coming out of Mississippi and that cell that we continue to track really over the past, like the last hour and a half to 2 hours, moving through that west and southwest part of Alabama. Out of Mississippi, heading between Montgomery and Mobile along I-65, still a very messy situation. So parameters are still favorable for severe weather over the southern part of the state, but drastically improving for us around here. Northwest of Birmingham, still some light rain falling to moderate showers from Coleman down to Birmingham and over to Gadsden. The heaviest rain, that severe thunderstorm warning, moving completely out of Calhoun County now. So Calhoun County, you were no longer under any type of warnings, and it looks like that warning has now been extended toward Haralson County and Carroll County in Georgia, getting closer and closer to Atlanta. So as I've emphasized before, if you're traveling from Anniston, Heflin toward Atlanta, it's going to be a messy ride. It's always a messy ride heading into Atlanta, and just compounding onto it that the fact that we have rain falling, but the severe weather threat lessening the farther east you go. But around here, the conditions looking better in Gadsden. There's Etowah County. Now it's still wet. We have ponding on the roadways, but the traffic moving smoothly. So allow some extra time as you head back off to work and school this morning. But after we get through sunrise, I feel like most of these watches will be canceled at this point well before 6 o'clock. Even technically, the tornado watch running until 6 o'clock this morning, Alex.
Well, I wanted to take a second here, Michael, and talk about the warning we've got that's not in our viewing area. This is the Montgomery viewing area, but this is an intense thunderstorm. It's right now the big storm in the state of Alabama all by itself, and those can tend to be trouble. So tornado warning in effect for Dallas County. This is going to be for areas south and east of Selma, and this has now been extended for much of Autauga County, including Prattville and Autaugaville. That Autauga County warning goes until 3:15. So if you've got friends or family down this way, you may want to let them know this is heading in their direction. You see, not just a hook here, but almost like a little donut hole in the middle of this thing where the rain is wrapped completely around that circulation. We'll pop on the velocity, and this has been a problem storm really since it was back in Mississippi. And it continues to spin pretty vigorously. We think at least once or twice this has touched down and been a tornado. No guarantee that's what's going on right now, but really an intense circulation here. Again, this is south and east of Selma, moving off to the east, north of the community of Tyler in far eastern Dallas County. We don't have any indication at the moment that we've got tornado debris here, nothing that would really stand out as debris to us at the moment. Doesn't necessarily mean we don't have a tornado on the ground, but I just can't confirm it based on the radar. But really intense looking thunderstorm here, and again, that would be an issue through Autauga County. If it held together, we would probably get a new tornado warning for Elmore County, and that would include places like Wetumpka, Blue Ridge, Wallsboro, Cusata, Deatsville, Eclectic potentially. I've got some family out here there in Wetumpka, so if they happen to be watching us in the live stream, or you're watching us in the live stream from Elmore County, just know that that is something that we will keep an eye on. The good news has been the lack of a lot of reports of widespread significant damage. We have had some damage reports. It has not been as widespread as we thought it could be with the dynamics we had in play today. This was a really stout storm system. We had multiple rounds of storms moving through. And there were a few places where everything matched up. We had the unstable air, we had the moisture, we had the lift, we had the wind shear, and everything matched up right, and we had problems. But for a lot of us, it just didn't all match up quite right, and that's fantastic news. It certainly had that potential today. You know, we had that weather alert in place for a reason, and it's still in place for a reason, but at this point it's sort of transitioning to a heavy rain threat more than anything else. Still a flash flood warning in place for parts of Jefferson and Shelby County, essentially the I-65 and Highway 31 corridor. Outside of this, they're not on the radar. We've got lots of flood advisories. So what does that mean to you? It means that's not quite the flash flood warning criteria, but there could be a couple of spots where we've got some ponding on the road. A few of the culverts are getting a little bit full. Some of the ditches are getting a little full. It's more inconvenience flooding than high impact flooding. But something you should keep in mind, if you have to get a really early start this morning, just take it slow on the roads. They're definitely going to still be wet as some of those commuters hit the road this morning. And there could be a couple spots where there's some ponding. Some of those roads where it just doesn't drain as well. The water sticks around. It's a little thicker. The water on the road and people hydroplane. And, of course, you're not just dealing with how you drive. You're dealing with how everybody around you is driving, too. So be careful tomorrow, or this morning, I should say. It's been a long day. I think for me and Michael, we're both pushing close to 12 hours at this point. So we've still got the flash flood warning. I think this is a situation where we've got some additional rain on the way, and we'll show you this. If you're one of those folks that look at the radar apps, you say, okay, what about all this rain back here? Is this a big problem? We've still got some yellows and some reds. I tend to think this is going to be a steady rain, a light to moderate rain. It's not the really heavy stuff. So what we would likely see is if there's some flooding in some of these areas, this might keep it from going down, at least temporarily. It's not going to make the water continue to rise up. So that would probably be the kind of rain we're dealing with here. And again, the good news is we really don't have any flooding reports at this point. So with that, the severe weather threat is trending down. That is fantastic news. We're going to continue to monitor this as we head through the rest of the morning, but with that threat wrapping up, we're going to wrap things up here as well. Meteorologist Alex Puckett here with meteorologist Dave Nussbaum and meteorologist Michael Haynes. We'll break back in as needed, and Dave will have an update in your forecast coming up on the news at 4:30 this morning. But for now, thank you for watching. We'll keep you up to date here and on CBS42.com.
This has been a severe weather alert from the CBS 42 Storm Team.